Well, I'm Captain James T. I drive the Enterprise. I've seen Romulan and Gorn with my own eyes. I've loved a lot of ladies from here to the neutral zone. But there's one shade of woman makes me feel right at home. I tore my yellow shirt on an Orion floor when I saw that Emerald darling walk through the door. Spock raised an eyebrow, said, Captain, that's illogical. I said, put a sock in the pointy ear, she's biological. Oh, she's green as the lights on my bridge console. She's the only alien who stole my soul. Forget the prime directive, I'm making a scene. I don't care if she's dangerous, as long as she's green. Oh, the pain, the pain. I'm stuck on this sphere with a bubble-headed booby and nothing but fear. That tin can robot yells danger all day, but I found a siren who makes it okay. She grabbed me by the tunic in the alien swamp, and my cowardly heart, it started to taunt. She might be a monster meant to eat us for lunch, but she's the prettiest gal in the whole bunch. Oh, she's green as the cash that I wish I had. If I don't get a kiss, I'll be hopping mad. Never fear, Smith is here with a love supreme. I'd trade the Jupiter 2 for that girl in green. Star-Lord, man, I'm a legendary guy. Got a talking raccoon in a tree standing by. Got a Walkman tape playing a country beat, and a deadly assassin sweeping me off my feet. Her daddy is a type who wants to crush the stars, but she's prettier than the girls in the nowhere bars. She threatens to gut me with a rusty knife, and I reckon that means she wants to be my wife. She's green as a lime in a cocktail glass, and she's the only lady who can kick my ass. She can punch me in the jaw, she can treat me mean. I'm hooked on a feeling, and that feeling is green. She's green, like an emerald queen. Green, best I ever seen, like an emerald queen. Oh, give me a green skin gal, that's my desire. Set my hillbilly heart on a nuclear fire. She can be mean as a wildcat, as sweet as mint tea, just as long as she's green. She's the gal for me.
Hello, this is Londo Molai, and you're watching Madman Cafe. However, in the old days, the great days of the Republic, you would be spying all the Brevare, Hajjala, and Spoo.
Welcome! Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome over, especially welcome to those who are coming over from Sci-Fi for Me TV. I know there's still a little bit on. I know some of you are probably going to be jumping in soon on there. So welcome to another edition of the Madman Cafe. Let's bring in our panelists for the evening. That's Sci-Fi Snob and Outpost Nerd. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Now, there's a lot we got to talk about today. And I know, everybody's like, ooh, this one's a rough one today. Not as rough as last week on there. Hang on, let me just get this music out of here. But we do got to start off with some breaking news. Before we went on the air, this was just coming out. No, we're not going to talk about Miley Cyrus. That Miley Cyrus is coming back. No, actually, this came out from Netflix on there. Get ready. Breaking news. MMA. Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. Live on Netflix.
That's going to be an interesting fight.
The fight that everybody wanted and was begging for.
Wanted like 5-6 years ago, maybe.
Yes, but they've
And
been training lately, as of late. And
yeah,
Ronda,
my first thought was, okay, they've both been out of the octagon for a couple of years now, for a good while. I wonder how they're going to look. Hopefully, better than the Tyson, what's his name, Paul fight.
well, Ronda was working in WWE for a bit, and I
Yeah,
know
that
some
didn't
people
work
got their
out. That
arms
was
clicked. Go
yeah,
ahead. What you said?
that didn't last long.
It was off and on, but still, I heard some people in the background. They said, "Damn, she's got one hell of an arm breaker." Yeah, she can really hurt somebody, um, as far as that. But yeah, hey, listen, it's going to be interesting. I know on Twitter and on social media that Gina has been saying that she's been toning up. So I know that she's been in training right now for this. Some people said, Jason was saying, could it be a money grab? Yeah, probably. Most likely, it's probably a money grab. But hell, listen, let me tell you something. This will attract a lot of people. Let's hope Netflix can keep the servers going this time around.
Yeah, let's hope.
Well, no, the thing about it is, they're also their partners. You got to remember that Netflix and all the other streaming services have deals with certain cable companies, the big ones.
Okay,
Like,
that doesn't matter if like they can't broadcast it like the Paul Logan or the Logan Tyson fight.
well, no, that's no. Hear me out. This is from a technical point of view, and someone who knows this. No, someone who knows this. Each of, depending on where you are in the country, because this is how you know that this was happening. You could have been on the East Coast and somewhere in the Midwest, it was going down like crazy. Some of the big cable companies, Verizon, Comcast, and all that, have deals with some of these streamers like Netflix and all that. That they would have a server in their systems to help them allow to broadcast, their their programming throughout for their customers throughout there. That's why you always get these free Comcast or free Verizon when you sign up and stuff like that. That's the deals that they have with them because it allows them to have their servers in their company. And this has been for the longest to that point. But the thing about it is, when they did that live feed, they didn't test it. That was the big problem. They didn't test it how each of the other servers separately would handle the feed. And that's why you had all the crashing. This time
Again,
around,
you can have a deal with God, but if you don't work out if you, like you just said, if you don't test it, it don't mean shit.
right.
And I'm
Well, the
hoping they
WWE
have it
stuff.
tested. Again, I'm hoping they have. This is what I'm trying to say, dude. I'm
Yeah, go
hoping they
ahead.
have it tested out and have all the technical issues out this worked out this time. Because this is, like you said, this is a fight that a lot of people have been wanting to see for what, probably 10, 15 years.
Hmm.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. I mean,
The,
they've been
the,
broadcasting already live feeds on stuff already.
yes, but
WWE and all
nothing
that.
like nothing that's probably going to be big like this, other than the
No,
Paul Tyson fight.
no, obviously no. But that at least they've been working on it, and hopefully, cross fingers, everything will work out this time
That's what I'm
around.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because this is major, and I'm surprised it's going to be in L.A. That's the thing that got me. I was like, why is it in L.A.? I'm surprised it's not in Madison Square Garden.
Isn't Gina based out of Las Vegas?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, MMA, most of their major events have been in New York. Very rare that you see it in Vegas. There's an occasion they might do a Vegas show in LA that I've never seen it in a LA show on it. That's a rarity. And is the president going to show up because he's a big MMA fan?
Ronda's Oregon, so it's weird that they're having it in Vegas. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm in Los Angeles.
it'll be a technical situation. You never know. You never know. But yeah, what is it? May 16th, you said? Saturday.
16.
Yep, yep. There we go. There's your top news for today. There's your top news for today. I like that avatar outpost. That's a good avatar for today. All right.
You can
Well,
take Croc.
well,
Knew it,
let's
Joe.
get on with this. Let's rip the Band-Aid off considering that I know that Jason has been saying from his sources that this show's done. It's canceled already. That supposedly last Thursday there was a meeting with Kurtzman that they're reshooting or re-editing an ending for season 2, a finale for it, and that this is pretty done. Now that finale going to be shown in dead air, we don't know. We don't know. And the thing about it is the was it Hollywood Reporter just came out with a lot of the Nielsen reports. None of them had Star Trek Academy listed. Goes to show where this show is at this time period. So let's get started with this. Star Trek Academy episode 6, Come Let's Away. What a lousy title for that. Directed by Larry Teng, written by Kenneth Lin, featuring music by UFO by Olivia Dean. Why did they put that in there? I don't know. As their relationship progresses, Tamara inadvertently finds out the truth about Caleb's mother using her telepathic powers, leading to a fight between the two. Aki and Keldrick inform the cadets of a Starfleet Academy and the War College that will be competing in a training exercises together to improve their effectiveness when responding to a crisis. One team consisting of Caleb, Sam, Jaden, Bavri, and Kyle are sent directly to the derelict of the USS Mizaki in order to successfully repower the ship, while another team, including Genesis, Outpost's favorite character, and Darum, remains on the bridge of the USS Athena to support. Despite their rivalry, Bev is impressed when Caleb restores life support using a programmable matter. A cloaked ship then reveals itself, and a group of Furies, cannibalistic scavengers, alien-human hybrids, board the Mizaki and demand ransom from the Federation for the return of the cadets. Aki and Kellick meet with Admiral Vance, who explains that the Furies have a reputation for killing hostages even after the demands are met, adding that the pirate Noose Braca successfully drove them away from their smuggling operation using a specialized weapon and suggests potentially contacting him for help. Aki dismisses this due to the history with Braca, but reluctantly meets with him after Tomov, the lieutenant sent to oversee the training mission, is ejected from the Mizaki airlock by the Furies. Akaki Braca makes a list of outrageous demands in exchange for his help and taunts Aki about the death of her son. Aki withstands the mockery, later telling her crew that she's gleaned from him and that the Furies continue to be the problem for him, that she could use to this strong-arming him into rescuing the cadets. Braca tells her that he uses a sonic weapon against the Furies, and Vance suggests modifying the nearby USS Sargasso to emit a pulse that will disrupt them for long enough that the cadets can be transported back to the Athena. On the Mizaki, Sam is able to reactivate the ship's computer, and the cadets barricade themselves on the bridge. Genesis and Lura pilot a probe that are able to successfully locate the Cloaked Fury ship. Tamara and Okam revealed to Aki and Telrek that Tamara has an implant to restrict her powers, but that she may be able to push past this and get a message to Caleb on the Mizaki, and thanks to their emotional connection. The Sargasso arrives before it can power up the sonic weapon. It is disabled in a surprise attack by the Venra ship. Aki realizes that the Furies are working with Braca, who had them attack the Mizaki in an elaborate trap to get revenge on her and Starfleet. Tamara rips out her implant in order to unleash a telepathic attack to save the cadets on the Mizaki, but Bev is killed protecting Caleb. The disruption allows Laura to transport the cadets back to the Athena, where the War College holds a funeral for Bevav, and the doctor places Tamara in a medically induced coma after the mental strain of using her powers placed her in a critical condition. Vance informs Aki that Braca and Venral immediately ransacked the space station being protected by the Sargasso as soon as it left, killing many of the Starfleet personnel and escaping with the base experimental weapons. Raka then sends a message to Aki, tormenting over what happened. So, this is where we at. But before we really get into it, and I have to mention this as far as the Furies. Let me find this on here. Where are we? Here we are. The Furies do exist somewhat in the Star Trek universe, but non-canon. It was done in the 1990s in these 4 novels. The way the Furies were described in these novels are not, and I repeat, not the same that Kurtzman put on the screen. They are not cannibals to the situation on there. I know a lot of people have read these that are major Star Trek fans, and they've given their disgust on how Kurtzman has just really butchered the Fury characters on here, but they're not canon. That's a thing to remember when you're watching this episode if you haven't watched it yet. Onto there. So, gentlemen, your thoughts, especially starting out with this scene.
Snob,
are you there?
Yeah.
Yes, that's all Star Trek needed was a
handsome
sex
man.
scene.
Yeah, handsome man. That's what I like to see. Naked men, and yeah. I mean, this is the only sex scene in of this magnitude in Star Trek? I mean, what's the point? Look, take a look at last week's episode was like some 8-year-old coloring thing for kids with the whole breaking of the fourth wall and the stupid jokes and the crossing out of the CBS production and writing all that stuff in there. And now, the first thing we see in the next episode is a near R-rated scene. What's going on? I mean, who is this show for? Is it for 8-year-old children or is it for adults? I don't know.
Yeah, for a show that's supposed to be family oriented.
That's a good point. It does seem like it's having a hard time finding it. It's portraying what audience
fit
kind of
anywhere.
audience it wants.
You're saying it's a family show, but the last episode was too infantile to be for families. Like that was just
and the language.
And this is too the other way. So what's going on? I mean, they're just jerking me around like a. At first I don't want to watch it because it's infantile, and then I go, "What? This is what? Now I'm going to see nudity in Star Trek almost." I mean, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then of course, the way they're portraying the Beta Zeds are just, I mean, it's insane. I mean, the way that they've just rewritten the entire Beta Z culture.
How so?
Well, not getting ahead of ourselves onto there. Her powers are a lot stronger. Now, if you look at Deanna, look at her mom and all that, some of the things that they did back in the old, Star Trek Next Gen, they could never do.
We've kind of seen overpowered Beta Zeds like her before. But due to technical restraints, probably budget, we never saw like this kind of power. Remember Tin Man? Tin Man created the guy. I can't remember that Betazoid's name. He was kind of like her. He was so overpowered. He was basically in an insane asylum. Until he started hearing Tin Man clear across the galaxy.
Right. There is certain, when you reach a certain age in Beta Z, which it is said in the wiki, that certain Beta Zeds experience certain mental breakdowns. It's not an increase of powers; it's just a mental breakdown of their abilities.
Okay, but
onto there.
Okay, well, let's get this. Okay, let's get this straight though. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. Now, I understand that Beta Zeds are mainly they're empathic and they have some limited telepathy.
Excuse me.
Telepathy, not tele. So telepathy is just reading each other's minds or being able to communicate mind to mind over distances of some site amount. And empathy is simply feeling other people's feelings. Now, this is like X-Men stuff, like Dark Phoenix. This is not telepathy. This is telekinetic abilities. This is the ability to rip bodies apart at distance with your mind. I don't think we've seen anything like
because
this
our
Beta Z
main
before,
our
but I
main
remember.
example of a Beta Z was a half Beta Z. Troy was not full Beta Z. Her father was a human, so she only had the empathic power. She could communicate telepathically, but we really have not seen what a full-blooded Beta Z could do.
Sure, we have. Her
No,
mother.
we have not.
Sure,
We've
we have.
seen no,
Her
no.
mother, Deep Space Nine. Don't you
We
remember the Deep
we
Space
saw-
Nine episode where her mind was falling apart and was affecting everyone around her?
I'm trying to say we've seen episodes, but we've never seen a full-blooded, fully fledged Betazoid character like this. And her brother
Okay, but do we have
no, we
Go ahead,
haven't.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Her brother,
do we have any? Okay,
her
sorry.
brother has even said she's unique, she's special. That we
Sure.
also got to realize it's what 700 years difference since we last seen a Beta Z.
Sure, but I don't remember any hint anywhere in Star Trek that Beta Zeds were anything more than empathic and perhaps having telepathy and telepathic. Not, I'm going to tear you apart with my mind.
Not even
stuff.
the novelization.
Could it happen? Sure, but this seems a huge leap. It seems to me like the writers don't know the difference between telepathy, telekinesis, and they just go, oh, Beta Zed's funky mind powers. All right, let's just have her, rip up I'm getting ahead of it, but she rips up these guys and makes their heads explode and stuff. No one else is harmed. She's not even there. Like, it's not like she's there and she's doing her little scream thing. She's back on the ship. I mean, this is, in my view, way out of line, as if they don't understand what these this race is supposedly able to do.
And it's the same thing with the other with everybody else. It's the Vulcans, the Romulans, the Klingons. You have races there that don't even exist that don't exist. What was it? The Sharons. They're not supposed to be there. They're dead. They have poor writing situations on there. They're just picking and choosing things that they think is okay to put in there, and then just rewriting it to the way they want it to be. Kurtzman said in an interview, I'm not going to be using things that, old Star Trek. I'm creating my own Star Trek. That's what he said in an interview. And that, that is hitting hard to the situation because there's a lot of errors in this episode. This is not as bad as last week. This is not as bad as last week's episode. I got to admit this. This is not as bad as last week's episode. This is a little bit of an improvement, not by much. Perfect example.
Yeah, if I don't know if you're going to go just a little bit. I don't know if you have any more shots of that scene there.
Let me see.
The nude scene.
Let's see.
You don't have to, but if you just, and I didn't notice this myself, but I noticed some other YouTuber was, noticed it. If you look at the scene, there's a scene and he gets, they get out of bed, right? And he's got shorts on. And then the scene cuts from her view and he's got long pants on. And then it cuts to another view, like right after, and he's got shorts back on. They don't even have the continuity to keep him in the right set of pants during that scene. Like, that's how a lack of detail they are. They can't get any of the Star Trek stuff right. They can't get the hey, we just had him in shorts in the scene before that. Maybe we should make sure he's still in shorts. Oh no, whatever. Minor thing, but these are something that there's people on the set that get paid to make sure that stuff doesn't happen.
No, they don't have this like they used to. You pay what, like we used to do in the business is used to call quality control. In the physical media business.
I guess they don't. You think for $10 million an episode they'd be able to do that?
Exactly. These are the eras that and this is not only Star Trek. This happens across the board throughout Hollywood. All the eras and stuff like that. We heard the eras during Game of Thrones. The cup of coffee in the Game of Thrones, or someone wearing their
Cup of
wristwatch. The what?
The cup of what?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee. You never saw that?
Okay, Linda
where
from
they
Coffee
left.
Talk.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
he's
they
from
left
New
the
York.
cup of
Talks amongst
coffee.
themselves.
Yeah, they left
Yeah.
a cup of coffee on the set, a Starbucks cup in the middle, and you could see it in the scene.
Yeah.
And nobody caught it in post ed.
There's a scene in one of the first 3 Pirates movies that in the background, like over Johnny Depp's over Jack's shoulder, you would see a guy with like a Panama Jack T-shirt, like
Oh yeah,
like a straw hat, and he's just a crew member. Yeah, you see that a lot.
yeah. I'm
One of my
Yeah,
one
I
of
mean, sometimes these errors can sneak through, but I mean, this is more than.
No, I'm trying to remember which one
just
was it.
leaving a
That was,
cup of
that
coffee
you could
on
see
the
an
thing.
entire
This is
crew
way
in the freaking in the episode.
in the first Matrix movie when they do that shot
I'm trying
on
to remember what it was.
the shot of Neo kind of distorted in the reflection of the doorknob. You could see the camera, and the camera has like a jacket over it, trying to hide it. This has happened for a long time, years. Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, of course, but this is not. This is a 10 million, $5 to $10 million they're spending on this. So they have all these rules. They have to have these extra writers in there. So many writers that they muck up the thing, but they can't pay for a guy to go, hey, he just had shorts on and now you got him in pants. Maybe you should fix that. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome over. By the way, Joshua Roberts, you're new to the show. Welcome.
Yeah, I think it's a good point he made. Just there.
Which one? First one?
Oh, that we just had up there.
Hang on.
Tearing down the.
Hang on. Let me go through them all. Let's see. Moreover, they deliberately trash, tear down the past. I think it's this one.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
It is
You
the
know, it goes
ultimate
from shorts to
democracy.
pants to
They will
shorts.
tear down the masterpiece only to replace it with their own dog shit.
But they can't, a couple of errors like that sneaking into a TV show. Hey, no big deal. But it's just they have that plus all the continuity errors with Star Trek and just the lore and canon. I mean, they don't care.
Yeah, it's like he says here.
And why should
lack
we?
of
Is the question.
dedication. Oh, and thank you for catching our Babylon 5 interview. Folks, if you haven't seen it yet, yes, it's on multiple channels. It's on my channel right here on CutyCast TV, Sci-Fi Snobs channel, Tennessee Tabletop Tavern, and Sci-Fi for Me. All of us have a copy up of that, and edited versions of it as well. If you haven't got it, we have breakdowns of I know Snob's interview, my interview, part sections on there. So do catch them. So moving on to this insanity. Of course, we talk about the USS Misaki, which is a ship that's using some sort of slipstream drive or something to that nature.
Nice warp singularity.
Excuse me, warp singularity drive.
Yeah, the Romulan drive.
And the thing that gets me, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Okay, you have a ship that's broken down. You left it in the middle of nowhere.
I'm not the only one that noticed that.
You left it in the middle of nowhere where anyone can strip this sucker for parts, including the drive system.
Yeah.
And it's been there for 100 years.
Yeah, it is so stupid that they left one of the most powerful starships with this experimental engine that could change everything. They left it floating in space for 100 years to use as a classroom, basically.
Well, they're using everything as a classroom in this show. They're using the Athena. They're using the Mizaki. They're using everything as a classroom.
Hey, have you ever heard of this thing that they invented back in the 2300s called the holodeck? This whole thing could have been done on the holodeck.
They did
and it
use a
would have been
holodeck on
safe,
episode 1.
and nobody would have been killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, why would you even, why bother?
Have
Do it
we
on the
not
holodeck.
learned from the original Star Trek movies, especially Wrath of Khan? So much for the training crews.
I mean, you're bringing, but these people aren't trained, right? They're not trained. They're not Starfleet officers
No,
yet. They're
the
cadets.
cadets.
Like, they're undergoing training, but that's the whole point. You don't send, can you imagine you bring, I don't know, use the military example. You bring in a bunch of recruits, they're brand new. They've just, hey, they're fresh off the bus. Okay, we're going to send you to the war for training. No, you learn the basics first. And then once you finish that, then you can go out and do some.
We're not even half
on the job training.
We're like,
stuff.
halfway through the first year at this point?
Yeah, I think they're a couple months in or something.
Oh, wait till the next episode.
Crazy.
It's the midterms on the next, where everybody goes home on the next one.
They barely know how to tie their shoes, man, and they're out. And reference, the one cadet who freaks out.
Oh yeah, it was.
Crazy.
She was.
Oh my God, there's a body.
She was the badge eating cadet.
Yeah, so I mean,
we're gonna get to her in a little bit.
Not ready for it. It doesn't make any sense.
We're gonna get to her in a little bit. Of course, they're getting their team together, especially followed by hero-looking type guy who's most likely a red shirt.
What did you think as soon as you
said
saw
red shirt automatically, 100%?
I thought he's dead.
He's dead. He's dead.
He's dead.
By the time he gets to the Mizaki.
He's old. He's white. He's competent. He's dead, man. He's gonna kill him for sure.
Now, hear me out on this. Let's take a trip back to episode 1. Now, remember when the Athena was attacked, okay? And they, basically, I forgot about Badlam, I think it was his name, said, "Oh, we need a spacesuit to get outside and, fix whatever fixed on the outside." I said, "No, I'll go out without a spacesuit and all that." Okay, fast forward. We have these things here, which basically puts you in an atmosphere, which technically is a knockoff of Star Trek the Animated Series, the original one. Remember this? I don't know if you guys remember this. Basically they didn't use a suit. They used a belt that put them in some sort of like force field with oxygen.
It's a good idea.
Oh no, it's a great idea. But here we go back to
cool.
That point where, okay, where was this device when we needed it in episode 1?
Well, I think it's been invented over the last 5 episodes, probably.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a point. We need it. We say, "Oh no, we don't have a suit nearby." Yeah, but do we have this little thing, this little doohickey nearby, and we can just
it's a little thing. You just pop it on. I mean,
walk out into space.
You put on your football shirt, and away you go.
And of course, Caleb. Obviously,
don't ask questions.
Caleb goes out there and he's on the Mizaki. He says, "Hey, I'll fix it. No problem whatsoever."
And I'll use what? Shall I use to fix it?
What was it?
Programmable matter, i.e., magic goo.
Yes.
It seems to do everything. I mean, I don't mind this character knowing something about something and being good at something, but he's becoming the Wesley of the show.
Yes, absolutely.
He's good at everything.
I'm glad you said it. I think people would be pissed if I said it.
I mean, that's what he's becoming. Like, he knows he's good about he knows everything, and he's not as annoying as Wesley, but it's just, can't someone else do something? Every time there's some computer, how did he get so good at this? Like, maybe as a criminal hacking computers and stuff, maybe, but not this good.
Rebooting
best in the galaxy.
Rebooting starships. Federation starships.
Yeah.
It's just it just gets me to that point. And here's the most important thing, Sam. Okay, why did Sam need one? She's a photonic,
there's
isn't
so
she?
much to
Why
Yeah.
did Sam need one? And what? Okay, if this ship is 100 years old, if
There's
the
so
Mizaki is
many.
100 years old, okay, how is she's able to be there as a photonic?
Well, they don't have anything about. Well, maybe they have hollow emitters, but they don't have anything about. They don't even discuss that. They don't even look at it. How does she go from point A
Exactly.
to point B? Like, there's no even, thought about how that she is able to get around as a quote photonic. They never any. There's no limit. As far as I can tell, there's no limitations. They simply just she's photonic and she can just go everywhere. There's no thought about the fact that the doctor had to have hollow emitters and he was stuck for 4 seasons in the in certain areas of the ship and all that kind of stuff. So I just think they don't care and they don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even more problems, which you're probably going to get to in a second here with this whole with her as a character.
And then, of course, we have the Furies show up, and as soon as the ship powers up, the Furies are there already. They didn't beam in or nothing like that. They were just waiting in the wings.
Y'all seem to assume a lot of stuff that might happen off screen.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, knowing. Okay, how many times have you watched an episode of Star Trek? Say, for example, where, where a Klingon or a Borg or something, they just beam aboard to attack them, and you see them beaming aboard. It's not that they're coming from the back door or somewhere. They're beaming aboard and saying, "Hey, we're attacking you." To that point. Here, it's like,
and it ramps up. It ramps up it ramps up the action and the excitement too, because okay, well, now the Klingons beam on some other part of the ship. You're like, oh, the Klingons are there. And they start sneaking through the ship, and the other guys are going through, and they don't know the Klingons are there. So, it ramps up the tension. But they don't do that. Now, hey, that's a show I would watch. She's the daughter of Space Ghost. I mean, it can't be. Yeah, there's just so many. Yeah, they're just, get to the part where the fight scene with the hologram, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
Did I put it in here? Oh God, it's not here.
Well, when we talk about it, it's
I mean, they get
so
to a point where the Furies, they demand, what was it, 30 bars of latinum, or was it 30 bars or 300 bars?
It was an insane amount.
It was 30.
Was it
30,000 or whatever? But anyway, just give them the thing.
Just give them the bars, and that's it. They're gone.
No, they're not.
Yeah, problem solved.
And to the point.
Problem solved.
But then, of course, Red Shirt Man decides to start a fight into the situation, and everyone except him escaping, and he looks like something out of, and everybody's been saying this, Firefly's Reavers, because that's literally what
I've heard
the Furies are resembling. It's like the Reavers. If you've seen Firefly, which is like, God, they're cannibals and they're eating the guy, and then of course they dump him into outer space. Well, what's left?
They like
what's left of him. And what happens? She panics. Oh my God, Miss, I shouldn't be in Starfleet.
Yeah, close your eyes. Don't look at the view screen.
Don't look at the view screen. Oh my God. I mean, is this like the biggest joke of the show? I mean,
I really
write her like this.
I think it's a representation thing. They're trying to, and she's the autistic character.
Oh, whoa! Don't. There's nothing. No, she's not autistic. Don't play that game. No, she's not. I'm autistic. She is not autistic. She is just way over her fucking head. She has no business being in Starfleet. And the fact that they're so concerned about restarting the academy that they're not putting these kids through the psychological evaluations that they should do is beyond ridiculous.
I don't think so. I don't think they think that far ahead. I think they're like, hey, this show is, we got to have representation. She is the neurodivergent character so that we can all see ourselves. Jaden's the gay one. We've got all these different characters that you all fit in. This guy's the bully or whatever. So she's the neurodivergent character or whatever. It's, something like that she's supposed to represent. I mean, this is her constant expression right here on their face. This is every time we see her, she's got this sort of I don't know what that look that is, but that's what I think they're trying to do. I mean, because otherwise, you're right. Why would this person would not make it in, right? They can't even, Wesley had to go, one of his tests just to get into start. He goes, oh, go to this place and you're going to do his test. He goes there and there's like an emergency going on, and it's a test to see if he would fold under pressure and run away, or if he would try to.
One of the great
something.
season was it 2 or 3 episodes is him going and taking the tests.
And she can't even look at a dead body on a screen. It's not even live. It's like
one of my favorite moments is when he's talking to that big guy and he's like, oh, I'm sorry I bumped into you, and the guy he's getting angrier and angrier the more polite Wesley is, but then Wesley sees the webbed hands and he realizes that, oh, this is that type of alien that they find politeness to be fake. So he's like, no, you ran into me, you jerk. If you have a problem with me, let's go fight it. And he's like, okay, I like you. Wesley had this situational awareness to realize that the way I'm doing things doesn't work. This one cadet doesn't seem to have that. And the fact that they're allowing that in the story, the fact that they are allowing her to stay will get people killed one day.
I mean, imagine you showed up for wherever, your first day in the army or whatever organization, and the first thing you do is eat something that you shouldn't. Obviously,
Joshua, that's a good point. Nog's story arc, especially after he loses his leg, show you that PTSD is a real thing even in the future. It's a great. That's one of my favorite episodes.
It is a great episode on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he sticks himself into the holodeck, listening to that.
He's working with Vic.
All day. And Vic gets and holographic Vic gets tired of him as well.
He's like, "This is gonna kill you. You need to get out." And he basically cuts him off cold turkey because he gets addicted to the holodeck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to go back a little bit to the fight scene because we've seen the hologram. She beat up a bunch of people on the last episode in a bar. She beat up a Romulan and a Vulcan. No, 2 Romulans. Anyway, a Romulan, she's drunk and she's beating them up, and Romulans are pretty strong. And then we've seen the doctor in the first episode. The doctor goes to inject Caleb with something, and he swings at his arm, and just part of the arm where he swings at, goes intangible, right? So she could simply, go around and put things, put parts of her body intangible so they couldn't grab her, and other parts like her fist could be tangible, and she could just beat the crap out of every single one of those guys. They couldn't touch her. But instead she's like, and then they put her in handcuffs, right? Some kind of handcuffs they put on her, and she's like, oh, I'm cuffed. I mean, why can't she just get out of those? Why isn't she the one who volunteers when they say we're going to throw somebody out the window or out the airlock? She goes, okay, I'll go. I mean, they can't do anything to her. What is she afraid of?
You know something on this picture, the lieutenant commander, he's in space frozen up on there. They tore his leg. They must have had a good chunk with his leg,
That's the best part.
He ripped his quads. I first saw it, I said, wait a minute, I gotta back this up. Did they just chunk his leg off?
Yeah, it's the calf is a tender.
Yeah, exactly. It's you can see one of the Furies sitting there like, here's Lieutenant Commander. His leg's really good. Why didn't we save the other one?
Yeah, well, they're not very efficient with their
and
they throw out 90% of the meat, man. Would you throw away 90% of the cow? No, come on.
The point of this death was not to kill him, or not to eat him. It was to kill him and throw him out into the airlock to show the Athena that okay, they're fucking serious.
Yeah.
So that's why I think one of them wanted a little snack, so that's why they took his leg off.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, you're looking at the screen and it says status deceased, and it's like, yeah, Yeah, I think you would be deceased in there. Did we need to have the computer screen tell us that he's dead?
Status unknown.
Status unknown. Oh no, we could probably beam him back aboard and probably resuscitate him.
We'll just
That's
inject him with some of Khan's blood, and then he'll come back to life. Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I saw this guy, the lieutenant commander, come out, and he said, "I'm going to send him with the lieutenant commander." I said, "You know, this guy is going to die. It's literally going to die."
Yeah.
Now, normally I have the picture of Braca, but for some reason it's not working. So, unfortunately, can't show you Braca to the point on there. But you know, there's the confrontation between they bring in Braca and you know Aki they go at it at one point. And you know, Braca comes in that little speech. They're gonna be little tenderloins, and this. He goes through this whole speech that is like 20th century speech, not 32nd century speech. Just everything, you know, like Sound of Music, and you know, goes through this whole thing, this whole speech, and it's like, really, you don't really sound like a bad guy. You just sound like a really bad villain.
Yeah, some people are saying they like Giamatti as a villain and stuff like that. I mean, I think he's a good actor. I don't like this character, and the dialogue they write for it is just horrible.
No,
I mean, the way he comes in and he's talking to Aki, to Captain Aki and stuff, it's just cringe. You know, I cannot understand the choices that they made with this villain. And I can't like him. I can't hate him. I just find it annoying and stupid. Some people are saying he's a great villain, but I'm like, no, he's not. He's just maybe it would be better if the dialogue was better, but I don't know.
A good villain should not be a villain in their own head. That a good villain is when you have to do things, but you're doing bad things for the right reasons. New Sprocket is just that old school kind of obsolete. I'm bad and I love being bad kind of villain. It's just that old fashioned kind of mustache twirling villain that has never worked in my opinion. I hate that. Like, you remember in Dudley Do Right, you had Snidely Whiplash. She was like, "Yeah, I love being bad. I'm so good at being bad," kind of thing. No, to me, an amazing bad guy is like Lex Luthor, who he's doing what he does not for bad reasons. He's doing bad for the right reasons. It's kind of the ends justify the means. With Noose Bracco, we're not seeing that. We're seeing that, I was born bad, so I was raised bad, so I'm gonna be bad. It's not good. It's not entertaining. It's not immersing. It doesn't immerse you in the character. It makes you not care about the character, and I do not care about Noose Bracco. I love Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti has played some great bad guys in his career. Noose Bracco is not one of them.
I have to bring up because, and I brought this up before I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it to you guys. You know, there was a 2007 movie with Clive Owen and Paul Giamatti. Go shoot 'em up.
Mm-hmm.
Where he played a bad guy in that one, which is like, you know, like a complete movie that's like gunkata through the whole freaking film. And Giamatti was excellent in it. You know, the funny part is like him, you know, his wife kept calling to complain that he wasn't home. Yes, honey, I'm home. I'm taking care of the business right now. You know, I have to kill some people, but, you know, don't worry. I'm handling it. You know, that's what the end of the movie is like. She's leaving me. You know?
Monica Bellucci was in that movie, and she's
God, she was hot in that movie.
He's so good at killing people. He's screwing her while shooting everyone. That's trying, like, this whole hit squad coming into the room as they're screwing, and he's just killing every one of them. She's just having the time of her life on top of them. I remember that movie. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah. There's talk that they want to do. They want to be doing a sequel to it. So, you know. Obviously, they won't bring back Giamatti. Spoiler warnings. To that point.
I think Joshua in the chat's got it perfectly. I was about to say this: the mustache twirling caricature. That's what he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's that
I
old
know,
school
and I'm
snot
agreeing.
whiplash kind of character who just is evil for evil's sake when he should be kind of the Lex Luthor kind of bad guy who's Lex Luthor to him in a great villain is a hero in their own mind, in my opinion. And like Lex Luthor, when he looks at Superman, he sees a potentially dangerous force. He sees an invading alien with the power of a god that, if they so choose, could take over the world. We've seen that in different versions of Superman, like in Crisis on Two Earths, when the parallel Luthor is actually the hero, and you have Superman and Ultraman, who's Ultraman in this version. But we've seen Luthor. He does what he does because he thinks he's the only one that can save the world. This is why I didn't care for the Superman, the Lex Luthor of last summer, the guy from who played Beast. I can't remember his name in the X-Men. He was a bad guy just for being a bad guy. Lex Luthor needs to be like the almost kind of like an anti-hero, but will do anything to save humanity.
Hi, PB. Welcome aboard on there. You probably just came up. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome. If you were
That's what I said,
over
Josh.
at Sci-Fi for Me TV, which just ended, welcome aboard on there. Of course, we're talking episode 6 Star Trek. For those of you on X, yes, we do know there is an issue going on with X with live streams right now. We do apologize if you're here on YouTube or you're on Rumble. You can watch us on either one right now at the moment. For now, X is having a major problem with live streams at this time period. Okay. Moving on there. But the whole thing with the Giamatti, and the thing is, some of the demands he was making, that he says, well, you're supplying these people with dilithium, and I have my corridors or wormholes or whatever the hell it is that he's saying is you're taking it away from my business. Stop giving it to them. I'm like, how are you going to tell Starfleet? If this was the old Starfleet, is you going to tell the old Starfleet that says stop giving food, stop giving supplies to planets that you're helping?
Yeah, imagine that. So there's some area of space that didn't have dilithium access to it or somehow. So they had to rely on this guy who is a criminal and a pirate to bring them certain, key, resources of some type. We don't know if it's food, medicine, whatever. So he's basically got a monopoly on this area. And we don't know how big it is. It could be a solar system. It could be a sector. It could be just one system. We don't know. And there could be millions, potentially billions of beings in that area. And so, Starfleet goes in and goes, hey, we're going to give you this dilithium. We're traded to you, whatever. And now you can, avoid this guy who's basically got a stranglehold on trade with your planet or system or sector. And so instead of, to save the life of 4 or 5 cadets, one of them is a hologram, which can't really be killed. They're going to just, throw this whole portion of space, back under the control of this guy. It's crazy. Like, can you imagine that? It's insane.
I mean, how many episodes of original Star Trek, and we're talking original series, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, how many times have we seen some sort of hostage situation where they were never they would rather let the hostages die than to meet into their demands?
I mean, the 30,000 platinum bars would be cheaper than, the untold, amount of credits that this, the lives affected in this, in this system or sector or whatever it is,
right?
This area of space. I mean, it's just the needs of the many and the needs of the few. Like
Yeah,
it's
in
like
fact, that's where we get to the needs of the many
it's
outweigh the needs of the
crazy.
few or the one.
It's
I mean, he said
crazy.
it completely wrong. I mean, again, it's like the miss saying a line from Star Trek. Like we had the line that we had a couple episodes back, about freedom and and all that, and the Picard speech, and it's like they missed an entire line to it.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
just can't see how Starfleet would ever sacrifice that many people, millions of them just for a couple of cadets. Like it doesn't make sense. Like you gotta find there had to be a different way, right? Like even
what was
agreeing to that.
one of the
You know,
best
and
one of the
would
best
you
episodes.
listen?
Yeah, go
Let's
ahead.
say you were a bad guy in Star Trek. Would you ever believe that the Federation, hey, I'm gonna kidnap these 5 people and say, hey, give me control of this entire sector of space, otherwise I'll kill these 5 people, and they're gonna go for it. Like you would never think that, right? Like it's crazy. No one would believe that would ever work. Oh, sure, they're gonna do it just for these 5 people.
Okay, so to me, in my opinion, that is the old Starfleet. The Starfleet that was a superpower. We're not dealing with that kind of Starfleet in this show. Starfleet is they're still trying to rebuild, like they started in Discovery. They're 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 nowhere near a superpower like they used to be. So I think the decision to save the cadets, that Vance and whatever her name is, the captain and
Aki.
Aki and what's his name, the commandant guy. Um, what does that tell you about the writing in the show when 6 episodes in, people are still having trouble with the fucking characters' names?
Exactly. I know. Right now. I have the list right here, and I could be mentioning it, but here you've just made the perfect analogy to the situation. How many of those guys out there that you're watching right now know every name on this show?
Mhm. I think the decision to save the cadets is also a political one. Because remember, some of these cadets that they have, like Genesis, their parents are very important people. And this basically is an experiment to see if the academy is worth starting back.
Mm-hmm. The burn was 100. What is it? 125 years ago.
Like 100, 110, 120. But they just figured out what caused the burn 3 or 4 years ago at this point. Because Academy starts up around the time Discovery ends. I just looked it up. So you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 years that they found after they found out that the whiny Kelpian kid caused the burn.
I still can't. No matter how important Starfleet is and how important the people are on it, I can't imagine condemning potentially millions to billions of beings to a life of servitude and control from some monopolistic pirate just to save 5 cadets.
I agree. I think the decision was a bad one, but I'm also saying why they probably made the decision that they did.
I don't think it doesn't seem to make sense within the.
It doesn't.
Well, knowing not only Star Trek, knowing any hostage situation, it's always said that you never want to really give into it because today, if they're able to get away with it today, they're going to be back next week with another demand similar because they know they can get away with it.
Is it that we don't negotiate with terrorists thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I'm going to tell you straight out, badass Captain Sisko, when he was going against the Maquis was like, there was like, oh yeah, we're going to bomb this planet, get rid of the Cardassians this way. And what did Sisko do? He turned around, went to one of their planets and bombarded that planet completely on, just did the same thing right back at them.
He committed a war crime.
I mean, Worf was even looking at him, going like, "What? What are you going to do?"
Yeah, he subscribes to the French way of dealing with terrorism.
Well, that whole storyline was really like the Eddington was very like Valjean kind of thing.
Yeah,
The
they
Les
were quoting
Miserables.
Les Mis. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a whole thing. So yeah, he Cisco was great because he would break and bend the rules, like the whole getting the Romulans into the war. It's fake. That whole we talked about that episode before, where
yeah,
he's it's basically him telling in his personal log what he did, how he uh, counterfeited the holographic records, and it ends with like computer erase last log entry.
yeah. And the thing is with the Maquis, with a lot of other stories that Cisco just like really just stepped up and just like
Mm-hmm.
said, screw it, I'm just gonna handle it. That like that whole thing where they took the Defiant when the Tal Shiar and the other intelligence group from the Kardashians went after the
Obsidian Order.
Dominion, and basically Cisco went in to go rescue Odo and Garrick,
Mm-hmm.
and and then
Joshua's on fire in the chat.
yeah, I know he is today. Holy
Damn.
crap, John! Yeah,
I saw that. Made
Dennis's
me
parents
chuckle.
are very important people to Atari and Nintendo.
That's right. We got to highlight that one. That's like great stuff.
Was it? Come on, Starfleet is all about genocide now. This is J.J. Abrams / Kurtzman Trek.
Mirror Universe Trek.
It is. It is. It just literally. I mean, you look at all the things that they've done with Discovery, Lower Decks, all these shows that they've done, and it just just it's just literally garbage to the point. It's not
Well,
Star Trek.
I actually think that Lower Decks is. I mean, at least it's a joke, right? It's made.
Yeah, it's a
to
joke.
make fun
It
and
is
stuff.
better. No, I
But-
do admit that it is a little
at
better,
least-
but still.
At least
It
they
has
know
its
about
issues.
Star Trek, and they seem to like it at least, right? They're like, hey, we're gonna poke fun at this thing that we all like. I don't consider it sort of real Star Trek, but it takes a poke at the things that you're going like, yeah. What happens on Second Contact? Who goes after? How come we never find out about that? Or what about the guys who are not on the Enterprise? Not the best of the best. But again, it's for fun. It's not really.
No, of course not. No.
It's the best of the new Trek. The rest of it's garbage.
Now, before we go any further, I just got to put it on there. Once again, welcome to all of those who are coming over from Sci-Fi for Me TV. Be sure to hit that subscribe button at the bottom there. Don't forget to like, share. Of course, you're in the chat, but if you're watching this off air, you can leave a comment. Please note, we've just today have signed up for monetization. So we are waiting to hear from YouTube for monetization. It's being worked on right now. So hopefully we'll be able to do super chats and memberships very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at that point level. Finally, we've gotten back our hours, which which was a problem at one point. We figured out the problem, but we're back to that point. So thank you again. Thank you for being patient. And also don't forget, shopcuticast.com, t-shirts, mugs. We got a lot of great stuff on there. New sale is coming up again very soon. We just finished Valentine's Day. But we still got some new stuff, and we're working on some new shirts also too. So hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll have some great new shirts on there as well. It's a fake. I still love that one with the Romulan senator. He just picks it up. It's a fake. I mean, there's some great one-liners in Deep Space Nine. You have to say, between that and my other favorite, some things that said Garrett, coincidences with Garrick. If you remember that, and he says, "I believe in coincidence. What I don't trust are coincidences."
Yeah, it's good.
That's a good one.
DS9's a good show.
Yeah. So
we should get back to the Mitsubishi here.
Yeah, the Mitsubishi, the Mizaki, whatever the hell it is. So they're locked aboard the bridge, and basically, we're doing like the scene from either Jedi or Aliens or something. To any science fiction movie you can think of where people are locked into one room and someone's trying to break in. onto there. You know, they've already grabbed the gun. You know, especially and I call him Buddy because technically the way his name sounds is Barai or whatever the hell it is. But it sounds like Buddy, so I'm calling Buddy the Vulcan.
Oh, I thought it was Bobby the Vulcan.
Bobby the Vulcan. You know, of course
Bobby.
the
only reason I knew that was I watched the closed captioning.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, of course, he threw the needs of the many on there, which is ridiculous on that. The other half of this, and again, bringing up of the USS Mizaki, how long has it been there? Outpost?
About 100 years.
Okay. In that 100 years, and the computer system's going back and forth, do you think a Federation computer system would allow you to automatically access it, even after 100 years?
Depends on the safeguard and if it recognizes
code,
them as
without the
Hold
Federation
on.
code.
Let me answer your question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There are certain we saw in Next Generation. There are certain safeguards that keep random people from just walking up to a starship computer and start pushing buttons. I think it depends on if it recognizes them as cadets, which they kind of had to explain. So,
and how did they explain it?
They scanned a comic book.
And I mean, okay, this ship was here 100 years. Could you tell me when those uniforms were part of the Star Trek lore?
Well,
actually,
the you don't know this, but I drilled very deep in the lore, and they were wearing different uniforms, except for this ship, the Mitsubishi. They on the day that they crashed, they had a wear your old uniform to work day, kind of like Halloween, but for Starfleet. And so everybody wore all the old Kirk and Spock and McCoy uniforms. That's what happened. I'm pretty sure it's canon. I read it somewhere in the back.
It was throwback Sunday, like in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to realize too that depending on what you did in Starfleet, depended on what uniform you wore. Like, if I remember right, Picard and Cisco both had different uniforms. One was like, I think Picard's was black on the top and then red along the chest area, and Cisco's was inverted because he worked on Cisco worked on a station and Picard worked on a ship. So
yeah, but these uniforms are original series uniforms. They're not next gen. They're not DS9.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not even Enterprise. Uniforms.
Yeah, just to be clear, I was being sarcastic when I.
Yeah, I know. Of course, you're being sarcastic. I know that. That's why I laughed.
I mean,
but
look, I saw this, and I'm like, I'm thinking that in the writers' room, they're like, "Hey, Star Trek, this is a nerd show. What else do nerds like? Comic books. Let's put a comic book in our nerds. Look, nerds like comic books. Nerds, haha, nerds, comic books, nerds." That's what I think they said in the writing.
And anyone find it odd that after 1,000 years, it's still paper?
Yeah.
And the fact that the guy brought it with him,
that was weird.
Like, when I was in the Army, we always went to war, and everybody always brought their teddy bears and important things from their childhood with them. When we go into a situation like that, come on.
Because there's an episode of Voyager where like aliens come in and erase all the information in the computer system, erases the crew's mind about them, and then because I remember at the end, Chakotay's sitting in the mess hall with a pen and like a paper and writing like his log out that way, so no one can come in and like erase it.
I mean, it's fine. He could, they could have, but it's just, hey, I got this important away mission that I'm going to go on. Let me just bring one of my comic books with me.
But here's the thing that gets me. Okay, you're sending a team in there, cadets in there to, reactivate the ship. Okay, obviously they're going to reactivate the ship. Could they have had the codes with them?
You'd think, maybe.
I mean,
That's the thing about Star Trek is, what I've got from watching all Star Trek is that they're always very careful with, like, their computers have pretty high security. Like, they don't want anybody messing around with them. And there's always, whenever we see the interactions with the computer, it's always, oh, we got to blow up the ship. Everybody's got some complicated passcode in there and all that stuff. So, I mean, generally speaking, it seems that, Starship security is pretty high, which you would expect, right? But yeah, they trick it with a comic book. Why not? Every Star Trek, every vessel has codes. Why not bring the codes with you? They could have just said, "Hey, we've got the codes."
There's I mentioned earlier in an episode of Next Generation. It's the one where they find a kid is the only survivor of this ship, and he latches on to Data in his grief, and he thinks that him falling on like a console caused like the ship to be destroyed. But Data then explains to him that every officer has a certain personal code that they have to put in to activate the console, and that just falling on it wouldn't do anything. And we've seen, like in the episode where Dr. Soon summons Data, and Data takes over the ship. He impersonates Picard, and he uses Picard's passcode. And in Picard's voice, so creepy seeing Patrick Stewart coming out of Data's mouth. And it's this long, like 20-digit passcode. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I agree. Having that, but again, we're comparing the old Starfleet to the new, lesser bullshit Starfleet. The incompetent Starfleet we're seeing in New Trek.
I mean, Joshua says that Snob is 100% right. Oh, he's 100% right with that too.
Do not tell him that. Don't inflate Snob's ego like that. We keep the fact that
my ego cannot be inflated any more than it is.
Keep the fact that Snob is right sometimes on the down low, so we don't have to listen to him brag.
What else do nerds like? They should be throwing in some. I think next episode there's going to be some Pokemon cards in there, or maybe Warhammer figures. That's what I would do. I mean, what other things do nerds like?
I know. I already seen what next episode is.
Is it? Is it the Warhammer one? Is that am I right?
Everybody goes home except Caleb and
because he doesn't have
Outpost, his favorite character.
Genesis.
What?
Yeah, it's a Genesis episode. Next one.
Is it okay?
Are you telling me?
I think that the hologram.
No. It's basically next episode is everybody goes home except Caleb and Genesis, and they're aboard the Athena, and nobody else is aboard.
Great. I had to stay at school for reading week one time. That sucks, man. I think that the hologram character.
They're probably not going home for.
I was going to say the hologram character was.
Go ahead, Snob.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Up.
Well, no, you go ahead, Buzz, because I'm going to kind of not changing the subject, but sort of.
I was going to say they're probably not going home for like a spring break. They're probably going home because of what happened in this episode.
No, it's listed as they're going home for a spring break.
Spring break.
Are you fucking kidding
yeah,
me?
that's the problem. Joshua's correct here in his point here. I'll just look that. No talk of cryptography because the writer is full of morons. You have to be smart to write smart science fiction. You can't get a bunch of dumb people together and write a smart show. And that's the problem. They're all dumb. They don't know anything about science fiction, Star Trek, nothing. I was going to say, I think that the hologram character was supposed to be the smart character. It was supposed to be the overpowered character, the Spock of the show, right? The character that kind of knows what's going on all the time, is the first to get stuff, because it's a computer. It's the Data, right? She was supposed to be the Data, but of course they blew it. They just made her look like a moron.
And then of course, they get the computer up and running. and then of course Aki
Well, how do they get the computer up and running though?
with the comic
You
book,
forgot an
with the
important
comic
part.
book.
And but before that though,
No,
you forgot.
remember
What did I
she
forget?
sticks her hand in it.
What's her name? Sticks her hand in it. She sticks her hand in it.
Well,
and
no,
just,
she activated the system. She
it
activated the system with her hand, but the computer wasn't letting them
Yeah.
in. And then they put the comic book in, and the comic book was feeling
Yeah, yeah,
depressed. Oh, my crew died. My crew, they're dead. They're dead. But now I got a new crew.
The thing about in Star Trek, the computers are. I mean, you've got AIs like Data that have personality, and but the ship's computers are purposefully dumbed down AIs that don't have those type of personalities and stuff. So this is it's kind of crazy. The whole ship sad, crew died.
Yeah, to that point. And then we go to this point, and this is the one that gets me. This one is probably going to take up a lot of this on there. They call in the USS Sargasso from some sort of Starfleet secret base that's nearby. They don't, and basically gets called in, so basically they can deflect this when they find the ship eventually, which Genesis and the what do they call it? What are we calling it now these days? The
Bully
boy.
That's what I call them.
They figure out where the ship is hiding. The Sargasso is going to basically take it out, but when they find it, it gets taken out in one blow.
Yeah, the USS Orange Soda just blows up like nothing. Did they have their there's a little bit of continuity problems here. Like it looks like the ship blows up, but what's her name? Femhadar says it's been disabled. So I'm like, is it blown up or disabled? I saw explosions there. Did it have its shields on or not? What's going on?
Yeah, have you noticed though, like when in this series when they shoot a ship, it actually it hits the shields and it looks like it explodes, like there's debris and stuff, but it's actually hitting the shields, so it's not really hitting anything.
I noticed that with the USS Orange Soda, but I didn't notice that with other ones. There was another ship that happened on another ship.
It's like, where are they getting these?
Was that in the first battle?
Yeah, where are these getting
With
these
the Athena, that was
Sargassas and
happening?
algae? Are you telling me they're really going to name a fucking weed a ship after like this weed? That's what Sargossa is.
Yeah, I mean it's the names of the ship are getting ridiculous. I mean,
Like
really.
it's supposed to be the original, like in this original series, it was all like NASA ships.
Yeah, the Defiant, the Enterprise,
Constitution, the
Constitution,
actually, the
Galileo.
On the ship, in the ship was actually they actually when the God, sorry, trying to get my words straight. They petitioned to name the space shuttle Enterprise after the show, so it's the kind of first. But then we like have in New Trek, they're starting to name them after like famous explorers. Remember at the end in the season, the one of Picard, Riker shows up on the Shang-Chi, which I looked it up. It's this name of this Chinese explorer.
Well, the names should inspire people, right? They should inspire you.
But Sargossa,
the USS.
It's a smelly brown weed that makes you itch. I deal with them in my town on the beach during the summer all the time.
So the next ship is going to be the USS Poison Ivy,
probably,
or the USS.
Well,
Mushroom.
remember World War II. We had the USS Hornet. If you remember that.
See, that's badass. Though.
Was it the Hornet? Was it the Hornet, the Yorktown, and the Enterprise during the Battle of Midway?
Yeah,
that's a badass name. But meanwhile, as this is going on, we're switching back into the Mizaki. The Furies burst into the bridge, turns into a complete firefight, which having a Klingon there did not help at all.
No,
Well,
having
he doesn't.
this Klingon here didn't help at all.
This Klingon did not help at all.
It's
They
not.
still got a little. Before that, they still got a little chance in for the Klingon and his boyfriend to have a little moment there. So that was good.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, and listen, a
Important.
Vulcan. You have a Vulcan, Buddy the Vulcan. Don't Vulcans are a little
Bobby.
stronger on the they have a better strength level?
Normally, but it didn't say so in the script for this portion of this scene, so he didn't.
So of course our famous Vulcan gets killed aboard the ship. And then
I kind of like that character. I mean, he's the one of the, at least maybe somewhat interesting character, right? Like, I would like to see more of him, and maybe there could have been some sort of, with him and Caleb, there could have been a bit of meeting of minds and saying, hey, we're not so bad. Maybe let's be nicey nice type of thing. But I think they killed the best character on the War College side. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the War College side, yeah, because the Romulan she ain't shit.
Like, what if they had killed off the Romulan, and because of that, the Vulcan guy was a little sad or something, and maybe they could have come to some sort of, him and Caleb, they could have in their grief or said, hey, people are dying here, maybe we shouldn't be such jerks to each other, we're on the same side, blah blah blah.
And I just want to welcome aboard, was it Michelle Fairy Tales? And she said, this story might have made more sense if there was a spy in Starfleet. Maybe the wimpy comm badge eating girl is a spy. I don't understand why the bad guy shows so much classified information about Starfleet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is true, but the truth is that Kurtzman is the spy in Paramount, and he's there to actually destroy Star Trek, and that's what he's been doing for the past 10 years. So that's where the real.
And then of course Tamara, who's trying to communicate with Caleb aboard, going from one ship to the other. Which, okay, I can understand that is possible with the Beta Zeds. We've seen this before with Deanna and her mother. That's happened before. But what is going to happen next is some Marvel DC type X-Men.
Yeah. She's Dark Phoenix, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like we get thrown the Phoenix at this point, and it's just, I mean, all the Furies just disintegrate at that point.
Their heads explode and stuff, right? Some of them, I'm like, oh, that's it's a nice effect, but
she rips her implant from her neck, and of course she's holding it bloody in her hand because they're like, oh my god, she's ripped it out of her neck. Oh, she's gonna be super powerful.
Everyone's gonna
she's
die.
Gonna be super powerful now.
Yeah, like I thought they'd be running in fear for their own lives or something like that, right? Like, because last time she was mad, she basically destroyed her dad's ability to process auditory signals.
So we get
that would have been cool.
So in the other case, Braca had already left, and what we find out is they get the team back. We find out that Braca had already teamed up with the Furies, and basically this was a trick to get the Sargasso out of range from the base, which I'm about to ruin this situation to the point that, okay, they took out the Sargasso with a couple of shots. Couldn't they have done that at the base itself?
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Nurse Braca with his ship is able to take out the USS Orange Soda with the Athena there as well. So, and then, so he drew that off. So why, and then his 6 ships attack the base. So why not attack the base with your 6 ships plus his own ship, which could take out the orange soda. And, also it might be a surprise too. You could do a surprise attack. Maybe it wouldn't be manned or something like that. You'd blow it up before it leaves the hangar or whatever. But they have this whole convoluted plan to bring it out so that they can attack the other thing. And, there's so many points of failure. Oh, we're going to capture these guys. Let's hope that somebody remembers that I'm the only one that knows how to stop these guys, and they call me up.
Yeah,
this is
this
nurse
was
thing,
such a
and
convoluted plan.
And why would you look if you're Starfleet? You're going to be like, okay, nurse Braca, here's your thing. Guess what? You're going to stay on this ship and make sure this works because we don't know if you're full of crap or not. So they just let them go. No, you're going to stay here, and if this works, then you can leave. How about that? No, you just let them go. Ugh. Stupid.
Every time I see Furies, I think furries.
Everybody's making that mistake. Everyone's talking about the furries. They're like, well, okay, well, what about this screaming in space thing? Is this a sound thing? It looks like she's screaming. It looks like
screaming in their
sound.
minds or something. Some mind.
But yeah, but she's in the other ship, and she's not on the bridge when this happens. So I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I on this. And it's just, here we go. She does that, knocks them out. They get back aboard the ship. What happens to that point? Let's see. We got.
Why doesn't the other Starfleet guys get hurt? Like, if it's a sound thing and she's killing the bats with sound or something, shouldn't the other guys go at least, ow, my ear hurts or something? Like maybe that would have raised the stakes a little bit. And you're like, oh, it was more dangerous than it was. But anyway.
So we got Vulcan dead.
He's just sleeping.
Beta Z in coma.
Mm-hmm.
And explain to me how Sam was damaged.
She took a shot through herself. So I'm thinking maybe that kind of degraded her holographic matrix. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, if I had to make up some crap, I'd say there's some sort of she's been shot by other things, but different phasers are different. Maybe
what
it
has
somehow
she been shot by
matrix.
except for those transporting?
Yeah, those transporter beams.
Yeah,
but
it's that, and it also there are hundreds of different types of phasers that we've seen through a Star Trek. Remember that episode of Next?
Yeah, but
I keep going back to Next Generation. There's a phaser that kills you in such a horrific way. It's outlawed that collector guy who kidnaps Data takes.
It's the Varan T disruptor.
Yes.
But the thing is that my problem is, like, I can buy that, so I could buy that she might be damaged by some phasers, but they don't say anything about it.
That's the thing,
it's
though.
Just, we see her get shot before, and everything's fine, and then she gets shot now, and she's hurt.
We're probably going to see that next
episode.
In there. It's probably going to continue in her story the next episode or two. That she's damaged, she has to go back to her planet, and she's going to fight the fact that she doesn't want to go back. It's going to be a whole plot line with her. Because remember, she's dead set against leaving her friends. She doesn't want to leave her friends.
But I think that Madman says the next episode's about Caleb and Genesis on the ship by themselves.
Oh yeah, but there is a scene with Sam and
there's a scene. Okay.
She has a new hairstyle.
If you're great.
If
you were a hologram, would you actually live in the real world? Wouldn't you just everything would be in a server? Wouldn't you just inhabit a virtual server world? Like, why would you bother to make all these technologies so you can go in the real world unless you had to interact with, quote, organic?
That's her reasoning. Remember, her purpose is to see if they.
Yeah, that makes sense for her. Yeah, that makes sense for her to come here to do that. But back on her home planet should just be like a server in somebody's basement somewhere.
We've seen that. We saw that in the Orville with the Kalons. They were just one big computer system, worldwide computer system, and when they had to deal with organics, then they download part of their consciousness into a robotic form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great series.
If I can stop just one moment.
That's a good idea. And that's
one moment.
That's
joining us right now. Direct from Sci-Fi for Me TV. Jason Hunt is joining us.
Jason,
How
how
are
bad
ya?
was it?
I hate this show. I really hate this show. I really hate
Yeah.
this show. Um,
Best
Yeah.
episode ever.
Okay.
Not a
now,
high bar.
It's not a high bar. This is the best episode out of all of them so far, but that's
Mhm.
not saying much.
I'm not saying it's the shiniest, nicest smelling turd.
That's right. I hate this show. It is the fanciest looking pig in the lot.
Hmm.
So,
You dress up a pig enough, it's still a pig.
that's right. See, the thing that gets me
I like
is you have this starship with an experimental drive
Hmm.
that goes wrong, and you just leave it there.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Yeah.
It makes no sense because Star Trek has a history of this kind of story where new experimental technology and something goes wrong. And what's the first thing they do? They put it under lock and key.
Hmm.
Genesis, M5, the nanites, all of these that the cloaking
Riker's,
device on the Pegasus.
cloaking
You know,
device.
all of these
Spore
different
drive. Yeah.
things with spore drive. But
Well, they didn't do that with the sport drive.
you know, the Telosians, right? Talos 4. They put Talos 4 completely off limits because they didn't want the Telosians to do bad things. You know, don't go to this planet on pain of death. There is a history of this is a bad thing. We need to make sure nobody gets it and does something bad with it. And you're going to take essentially Romulan technology on a starship, this whole singularity drive crap,
Mhm.
which was introduced in Next Generation, and it goes wrong. It goes badly. Let's assume the Miyazaki was based at this top secret research starbase that just happens to be a stone's throw away. Okay, fine. Why didn't they take it back there?
Exactly.
Why did you just leave it there for anybody to pick through it? That's the most ridiculous thing that
they needed for training for the cadets to come and do
the
training.
thing to me, in my opinion, the Federation would be if it was real, if it would be a failed state. They make so many bad decisions.
At this point, yeah.
Grew up so even in Next Generation, even the original series, the choices they make, this pacifist bullshit ideal of Starfleet gets people killed. How many wars has Starfleet found themselves in? And people disagree. Oh, they're an exploration service. No, they're a fucking military. They're the military. How many wars has Starfleet found themselves in?
Okay, so that's kind of the thing that's been an ongoing debate since the 60s. This idea of Starfleet, because Roddenberry wanted to have it both ways. You know, it's a military,
yes, exactly.
But it's also the Coast Guard. It's also the Peace Corps. It's also, you know, there's also a diplomatic corps at the heart of it. And, you know, Kirk has even said, I'm more a soldier than a diplomat, but at times he has to be the diplomat. And
yes,
in that original show,
Pike is the most decorated war captain in Federation history, but he says number one describes it as his if he has to resort to fighting, he's failed at everything else.
Well, and that's an extension of, you know, most diplomatic, you know, the American foreign policy. Yeah, you know, I've seen that sentiment in Tom Clancy books. You know, if the war fighters have to go, then the diplomats have failed at their job, and that's not a Star Trek thing. That's
exactly.
That's a universal constant thing.
Good point.
But this idea here that Starfleet's not a military is completely bogus. I mean, we've established early on in the original series, in the first season, even with court martial, it absolutely is a military. You know, you have a judge advocate general's office, you have courts martial, and you know that sort of thing happens all the time. Kirk got court martialed, Spock got court martialed during the cage, the menagerie. You know, it is a military. However, What they also want this military to be able to do is scientific exploration and research. So it's the military, but they have the base in Antarctica where they find the alien. You know, it's they want to have it both ways. And sometimes, as we saw with Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine was really good at calling this out. Is that sometimes your scientific exploration stuff gets you to the point where you got to fight, and you're going to have to stand on your principles and sit there and pick whatever it is that you're going to fight for, and then you're going to fight to win.
Well, in Insurrection, we see a little bit of that too. It's one of my favorite lines is when Picard and the rest of the bridge crew are going down to that diplomatic dinner, and they want to go. Picard wants to go on this archaeological dig, but then they have to put out this diplomatic brush fire with this other group of people. And he says this. He sums up the current Federation mindset. He looks at everyone. They're getting the turbulence. He says, "Does anyone remember when we used to be explorers?" And then it's to me, the Starfleet has so much blood on their hands because they found this ideal that they have of pacifism. What I was saying a minute ago, when they run into a violent species who does not share that view, they find themselves put on their back foot, and millions and billions of people die until they can finally get on their war footing.
Well, and that's a failure on the part of the writing teams more than anything else, because you have, and again, it got better once Roddenberry got out of the way.
Yes.
Once they put Roddenberry to pasture, and I hate to say that, but Gene Roddenberry was his own worst enemy. And that goes back to the beginning of Star Trek, all of the different battles that he had with the networks and with the movie studios. And by the time they sat there and said, okay, Gene, creative consultant, that's all you're going to do. We're going to show you, and you're going to tell us what you think, and we're going to do it anyway. And we're going to pay you a lot of money to sit down and shut up and just let us do our thing. Because first season of Next Generation, one of his mandates was nobody on the bridge crew fights each other. You know, they all got to get along. And at one point, somebody had even said, somebody had asked him about the fact that he had opined that by the time we get to the 24th century, there were no lawyers because everybody got along. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah,
of course there are lawyers.
It's like in that episode of season 1 of Picard where when Picard goes and reunites with Riker and Troy, he even mentions, he's like, I have a new crew of sorts, and he mentions Riker. They have so much more baggage than any of you ever did.
Yeah, I don't count Picard as Star Trek.
I enjoyed.
There's no way that
the season 3.
There's no way that a lawyer would allow lawyers are not going to allow lawyers to go extinct.
Yeah.
But back to the Star Trek military thing. Star Trek is definitely a military for sure. They're just a military that is, I mean, part of the military is being flexible, right? You're able to do all kinds of, from full-blown war operations down to all kinds of, rescue operations.
They're the Coast Guard.
Handing out food to people like that. No, even the real military is they've got a spectrum of operations, and at one side of it is full-on war. But there's also, disaster relief and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So Star Trek is simply it's a military that hasn't had a major war in a long time, and the government has decided, hey, we're going to focus more on exploration than war fighting.
Yes.
But
and
we have to be able.
You also have the military aspect of Starfleet being affected by the time in which each show was made, because the 90s liberal mindset is much different from the 60s liberal mindset, is much different from the 2026 liberal progressive Marxist communist crazy person mindset. It's no longer the same kind of thing. Shatner talked about this a lot. He says, we talked about social issues. We didn't get into political stuff. Star Trek's always been political. It's not been party propaganda the way it is now.
Exactly. Oh, that's
socially,
good.
racism is bad whether you vote for a Republican or you vote for a Democrat. Racism is bad, is bad, is bad. I mean, that's an of course. And the show back then in the 60s dealt with that in a way because that was going on in the cultural conversation at that point, right? You had the civil rights movement and all of that had just happened. And it was one of those things. It wasn't a party. And even then, if you want to say that Star Trek got political, the whole racism is bad and we should all just ignore skin color was a Republican position because the civil rights movement was filibustered by the Democrats.
Preach.
I mean, all of these people are sitting there going, "Oh, Star Trek's always been political." Oh yeah, let's take a look at the record, shall we? Because in the 60s, the Democrats were the racists, still are. But, Star Trek pointing out racism bad, is that a liberal position? Classical liberal? Sure. And a lot of conservatives nowadays who are considered conservatives are classical liberals.
Mm.
And you don't see any of that in Kurtzman Trek at all, to bring it back to the show. Yeah, you don't see any of that in current new Trek, Kurtzman Trek, direct Trek, whatever you want to call it.
Years ago, Roddenberry, back in '73, he did 2 pilots, Genesis 2 and Planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with that. And in those stories, basically, it's a future Earth after a nuclear holocaust, which you had Pax that was built, which is basically they were trying to rebuild society. They hid all the science, the books, the art, and everything. They were trying to rebuild it peacefully. Well, on the outskirts, you had barbarians, you had Amazons, and all that. And you had one group that were trying to reactivate the nuclear facilities in there and use a nuclear bomb. And Dylan Hunt, played by Alex Cord, goes in, and this is toward the end of the story. He goes in and sets a timer for it to blow. And was it Primus Isaac told him, he says, "Why did you do that? That's not what we wanted to be done. We, killing. Did you kill anybody? Did you do?" And that was, to their point, because this is that's not what PAX is to that point. And that's a different perspective than what Roddenberry was writing at that point. This could have gone further. I wish that series would have been extended on there, other than the 2
It
movies.
did. It was called Andromeda.
Andromeda was a good show. I enjoyed
good
that show.
Andromeda was the 3rd version of that story.
Really?
Really?
Well, yeah, because Kevin Sorbo plays Dylan Hunt. It is a reworking of both. See, both of those stories, both of those movies you mentioned, Genesis 2 and Planet Earth, both of them are the same story essentially. They both have Alex Cord plays Dylan Hunt in one of them, and John Saxon plays Dylan Hunt in another. And they rework it. And after Roddenberry died, they got Andromeda. I think this was after he died. They reworked it, and you got Andromeda with Kevin Sorbo playing Dylan Hunt. And it was the 3rd time they tried it, and they finally got it to work where it would work.
I did not know that. That is really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Genesis, I have it on.
See, I know these things. I drink coffee and I know things.
No, I have it on the Blu-ray on there. I just got the Blu-ray. You can watch it. For those of you who want to see this, you can watch it on both of them are available on Tubi TV right now. On that, it's a good watch. They used to play that like late night on TBS, like at 1-2 o'clock in the morning. They used to play it every once in a while.
I watched Andromeda, I think, on the Sci-Fi Channel at one time. That's how I got into it.
Yeah, it ran on Sci-Fi. It was syndicated, I think, for a while.
WG in America has had it on too, I think.
Yeah. Oh man, that takes me back because you had Andromeda, you had was it Invasion Earth?
Earth Final Conflict.
Earth Final Conflict. Yeah, Earth Final Conflict. There was a 90s War of the Worlds. There was not a Roddenberry thing, but you had War of the Worlds, a new version of that. You had Mutant X. You had The Lost World, Xena.
You had Hercules as well. You had reruns of Hercules.
There was a Relic Hunter with Tia Carrera as Lara Croft.
God, she's hot.
She still looks good.
She looks
She
great.
still looks
Still looks
amazing.
Great.
So
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
loved her in Wayne's World. I love those movies.
It says so much that we are on a live stream about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, and we're talking about anything but.
Exactly. Well, it's like I said before you got in here, Jason, I had trouble remembering the characters. And what does that tell you about the writing when 6 episodes in, you don't know who every character is?
Not only do you don't know, you don't care.
I don't
There's
care.
there's no emotional investment in any of these people. When he came, when Lieutenant Redshirt came in with the cadets and they're going over there, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
he's going to die. And
Yeah, that's
he's
what Snob and Madman said.
talking about the fact that, well, I've got a side bet if we're going to be the first ones to get it done. I was like, yeah, he's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same kind of thing with Admiral Holdo. The Holdo maneuver. You got Laura Dern in there, and yeah, Laura Dern's got a history, but Holdo doesn't. And she makes this grand sacrifice play with the whole hyperspace through the ship crap, the Holdo maneuver.
Yeah.
Completely ruins everything Star Trek. And you don't care because there's no emotional investment in Holdo. Who is this person? We don't know.
Yes, you have at that point you have like a connection with Poe. You like him.
No.
You agree with him. But then
Yeah,
she starts just disregarding the hero. You're like,
well,
and
and
you're
if you're
supposed to feel bad when she dies.
And if you have a character that's going to make the sacrifice play like that, you give it to Akbar. You let Akbar be the one because Akbar's got a history with fans. And that's a hero's exit. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm going to sacrifice myself.
Akbar's a man.
Save everybody else by doing this thing. I'm going to cover your retreat. It's Akbar because everybody knows Akbar. We all know him because he's been around since Return of the Jedi. There's a history there. There's gravitas there. Holdo, we got nothing. We have absolutely nothing other than the fact that she wore purple and she dressed down Poe and girl power.
She was outright a purple-haired Karen.
Yeah, absolutely was. And in this show, we don't have a purple-haired Karen so much, but we've got remnants of DEI casting without them being overtly in your face DEI casting. I mean, it's there, but they're not calling attention to it in the marketing and anything else, which is a smart play, but you still don't care about any of these characters.
No, you don't.
I don't care about the gay polymorph Klingon. I don't care about, body positive autistic hologram. I don't care. I have no emotional investment in any of them at all. I don't even have any emotional investment in the grown-ups because they're not really grown-ups. They're placeholders.
I keep saying this. Aki, do you remember? Jason remembers this. The Eden episode in the original Trek. Tell me, Aki couldn't have been one of that group.
Yes.
Barefooted.
Yeah. The way to
Eden.
The way to Eden. Yeah. We reach, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I kept always saying, stepping into Eden, yay, brother.
Yeah, right.
That's what Aki reminds me.
He just passed away here not too long ago, I think.
Yes.
Crap, what's his name? Yeah, I know you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't. It just. I'm watching this show, and there are so many inconsistencies, and some of it's little stuff. Some of it's just nitpicky stuff. Like, okay, you've got a ship called the Miyazaki. Why do you have a Shakespeare quote on the commissioning plaque? Why don't you have something Japanese on the commissioning plaque instead of "Come, let's away"? That's not Japanese culture. If you're going to name the ship for Miyazaki, put a Studio Ghibli thing in there, just as a wink and a nod, right?
Yes, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, but they don't know.
I'm pretty sure Shakespeare was Japanese. So.
No, Shakespeare was Klingon. You have not experienced Shakespeare until you've read in the original Klingon.
He was yeah, but he's also was Japanese too. I'm pretty sure.
General Chang was a great character. I liked him.
Chang was great.
Played by what's his name from Sound of Music? Great actor.
Yeah, Christopher Plummer.
Yeah. Christopher Plummer was a great actor. I loved him. Chang, I like the Klingons in that. That to me, those are real Klingons, not the kind we're seeing with the poly relationships now. But I read, speaking of the Klingons, I read something interesting after the Klingon episode we had 2 weeks ago, was it? That it was Starfleet's fault that the action in it was new in New Trek. It's Starfleet's fault that Kronos was destroyed because of the bomb they planted at the core of the planet in Discovery. That during the burn it went off, and that's what destroyed Kronos.
Okay. See, I wasn't even aware of any of that because I never watched it. I didn't get past the first episode of Discovery. I said, this is so stupid. Why am I watching this?
Basically, in the Federation Klingon War, Burnham places a bomb in the center of Kronos, tells the Klingon Great Houses, if you don't end the war, we're going to detonate it and destroy Kronos. And they give it to the female chancellor. It's like, oh, here, hold them hostage.
What a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
How do you get
the whole series?
That's right.
You have in Discovery, you have the woman who set off the bloodiest galactic war up until the Dominion War. But instead of punishing her, she should never have set foot on a Starfleet ship again.
She should not. She should have been stripped of her rank and put in a penal colony. Well, see, the other thing
they did. Remember,
they left her there.
But they gave her the most powerful ship in the universe.
And I read this thing, and I want to say it was like Trek Central. It was one of the We Love Trek no matter what sites, and they're describing the fact that Kronos blew up in Star Trek 6. I was like, hang on, wait a minute. You're a Star Trek focused website. All you cover is Star Trek. And you sit there and tell me that Kronos was destroyed in Star Trek 6?
Madman.
No,
that's not what I said.
No.
I said the Kronos,
Kronos
was dying.
Kronos. Okay, so we don't even have that. Okay, we don't even have that established in Star Trek 6. Okay, so Praxis explodes. Their key energy production facility. They're basically, overmining pollution. It was an environmental thing, new energy, whatever. But nothing ever. It affected Kronos's economy. It affected, that aspect of the Klingon Empire. But there was nothing in Star Trek 6 to suggest that Kronos was going to die because of it. They said that the Empire was going to collapse because it was no longer, the economy was going to fall out from under.
I thought that the debris and stuff was going to poison the atmosphere over time.
Yeah, that's what I thought so too.
And
you had debris around the planet. I don't know what it did to the planet. I can't remember.
If I remember right, I'm going to go watch this again because it's David Warner as Chancellor Gorkon is amazing. David Warner was an amazing actor. I loved him in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Loved him in everything. He was a master computer in Tron. He was the guy a great actor. If I remember right, Praxis is the moon of Kronos, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Kind of like our moon today. It blew up, and it was like an ecological disaster over the next 50 years would have rendered.
PB's got it right. It affected the atmosphere and did the things, but that was never explicitly said in the movie.
Yeah, well, it was said that due to the Klingons overinflating their military budget, they didn't have the resources to clean it up, and that's why they reached out to the Federation, and that's why Spock was so adamant. We need to do this now. We have a very liberal Klingon government reaching out to us, and we need to go now and deal and help them now.
Only Nixon could go to China.
Yeah, before a more conservative, more traditional Klingon government comes in and just cuts us out. So I'm going to rewatch that one. That was a great movie.
Yeah, it does. I'm looking it up right now on the plot line, and it does say, let me get the exact term: the loss of Praxis and the ecological devastation of the Klingon homeworld throws the Klingon Empire to turmoil, no longer able to afford war with the Federation. That's how they have it.
Yes.
Okay, where are you reading that?
Off the wiki.
Okay, that's a wiki. That's not in the movie.
Wikipedia.
So, because Spock, if I remember right, I'm trying to remember the actual dialogue, because that's where you establish what's canon or not. Because Spock sits there and says, practice a key energy mining facility, due to over mining. I can't remember exactly, because I remember which the Klingons can no longer afford. I remember that's the end of the line, but I can't remember the beginning of it. But regardless, Kronos wasn't destroyed in Star Trek 6. That's my point.
Yeah, because we went there multiple times in Next Generation as well.
Yeah, and you have a Star Trek website that gets that fundamental key item wrong. Because how many times do we see, like you said, how many times do we see Kronos in Next Generation?
Yeah,
Lots.
a good bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. People are
the whole
stupid.
storyline revolved around Kronos. The whole Romulan, the Duras storyline revolved around Kronos. And it boggles my mind that people are getting that wrong.
Well, and this goes back to a broader issue with the younger people that have become the target demographic for all of these shows, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, all of them, going after the 20-somethings, the Gen Z and the millennials, who are of a mindset that nothing ever happened in the history of the world prior to their birth.
Yes.
And you have people that are in charge of these stories who are not familiar with the stories, who don't care about the history. They're only using them as skin suit platforms in order to project forward with a message. Alex Kurtzman even said so in an interview, I think was in 2021. We talked about this on a couple of the times, where he sat there and said, it's not about making Star Trek. It's about using it as a platform for our stories that we want to tell. So basically, he's wanting to do message fiction in the Star Trek skin suit. And it's finally caught up to him enough that he's been given the axe, and he's going to be shown the door here this year. He's done. Kurtzman is done. Starfleet Academy is done.
PB brings up to this point, saying to you directly, Jason, the ecological damage from Praxis meant it would be 50 years and the planet would die. The Federation cleaned their atmosphere.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I remember this. They're talking about 50 years.
Well, because the Admiral, whatever his name is, the Klingons have roughly 50 years of life left to it. That's how he started the meeting. And then they get in there and bring in Spock to talk about what it is and what was going on. So
I still haven't popped the 4K one in. I got the 4K version. I've been dying to see it because I have a new 4K television. I said, got to see this in 4K. The funny part is when I used to sell electronics, I used to play the opening minutes of this movie to sell a TV.
I did the same thing. So I have an old, well, it's old now, Pioneer stereo system. And one of those things includes, I have a surround sound setting on the tuner. And I had the Star Trek 6 laser disc, which has the 5.1 surround sound, thing. And so anytime I rearranged the room, or when I moved, or I had to take it apart and put it back together, I've got all of my speakers in place wherever. I would put the Star Trek 6 laser disc in and hit play to calibrate the surround sound. I'd use the Praxis explosion to make sure that I do all of the, set all the levels and making sure it all balanced out. And then that's my final test, is I'd play the Praxis explosion, and you could hear it go from the front to the back of the room perfectly, just, and it just runs right.
Cool.
Really
cool.
No,
I used to sell Bose systems and freaking on
nice.
A Bose system. It sounds awesome on a Bose system. That explodes.
Now, let me ask you.
I gotta go let my dog out. Hang on.
I'll ask you a question.
I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back. All right.
But it's just, Jason makes such a good point. It's about people wanting to come in and make their own mark on an an IP that they don't care how they do it. They don't care about was what was done to they don't care about the giants they're standing on the backs on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing that especially in New Trek.
Yeah,
And it's
no,
disgusting.
we're seeing it on everything as far as Hollywood. And
Yeah.
you know, and I know Jason may disagree with me when he comes back on this. You know, what we're looking at the AI that's coming in now and the way people are using AI. You know, I call it it's just another tool in you know in the arsenal.
Hmm.
But you got Hollywood making movies that are just atrocious. The only thing that's really working out right now are what? Horror movies. You know,
Yeah.
if anything, the horror movies are making, and you have a horror movie out by a freaking YouTuber,
Hmm.
he's still making money on it, and he's about to, I think, release it further in overseas before he hits it on digital. And you know, and he's done very well with it. The other horror film, what was that? The one on the island that was done by the creator of Evil Dead, uh, is
I don't know
still
that
doing
one.
very well. It's still in the top five.
We're also coming to the point in time where a lot of the IPs like that were under copyright for their 100-year limit. I think is that the limit? Are
I
starting to become
think, yeah.
get in the public domain. So that's why we're seeing all these like our childhood characters become horror movies. We've seen Winnie the Pooh, we've seen Popeye, we've seen all these classic characters that have come out into the copyright zone, and now they're being made into horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are good, some of them are like, ugh, but
No, and then there's a couple that are coming. They're about, I think, in this month alone, there's 30 horror films being released. At least 30, 35 horror movies. And,
didn't I hear recently about someone doing a movie and they're going to use AI to actually in real time as people are watching it in the theater gauge their reaction and see and change it as time goes on to make it better,
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't
something
doubt
like
it at
that. I
all.
don't know.
I wouldn't doubt. I mean, there's a lot that's coming out, you know, now, and you're seeing some of the stuff that's out there that's being produced. I mean, you know, as far as the AI systems go, you know, I mean, some of it, okay, RoboCop versus Batman, or this. Yeah, there are other people out there that are actually doing stuff that's new.
Yeah,
You know,
I saw recently a yesterday I saw a video. It's a Star Wars video right after the Battle of Endor, and it
hmm
was Rex. It was the trooper that they said, the white beard that they said, oh, that's Rex, who was in the group with Han Solo and Leia, and it has after the everyone's off celebrating, and Luke comes up and talks to Rex, and it's very janky AI. I'm like, okay, but that's a good story. You have
hmm
Luke. I would love to see like Luke and Ahsoka talk more. We've only saw that a little bit in the book of Boba Fett, that one episode of Boba Fett. I'd love to see like, and I like how they need to recast Luke, I think, and we need more stories with him, more than Ray and all that. But like when you said AI, look at yours and my profile, Madman pics.
yeah,
You
I
got
know.
the classic Star Trek. I made a Star Trek
Well,
ID card.
that one, the picture right there is not AI. That's me pasting. That's cut and paste with me on there.
Oh, mine's like AI. I took an old picture of mine and like make this a Starfleet lieutenant commander's ID. Uh, give him security job. Give me a Geordie's visor,
hmm No, but
and
if you look at my thumbnail for this episode,
mhm.
that's AI.
Yeah, a
What I
lot of
did
my
was I took
yeah.
Jean Grey
Hmm.
from the poster from
Yeah.
the X Men poster, the younger Jean Grey, and I merged it with what's her name from Starfleet Academy, and that's what
Who's
I
that
got.
Death Angel? Who's that Shadow? Shadow says they had an ideal person to recast Luke with. Who's that? Is that the guy who they actually had? Uh, they refaced him for Mandalorian. I've actually seen pictures of that actor. He looked like a younger Luke.
All right, I'm
I
back.
don't know. So here's my question, Jason. You might know this. They promoted Sulu just to get George Takei out of the way, right? Did they? For like in Star Trek 6?
No,
Because I heard he was horrible to work with, and I've heard in
they
the past
they promoted Sulu to captain in order to get George Takei to come back for Star Trek 2.
okay. So
There
it was
is a
opposite.
there's a deleted scene. It was shot, and you can find the raw out there on YouTube. Basically, there's a piece of dialogue in the shuttle pod as they're coming toward the ship. You know, it's just like, I don't think these kids can steer. So there's a piece of that dialogue where they establish Sulu has just been promoted to captain, and McCoy congratulates him. And
Okay.
Sulu's like, yeah, anytime to go back on the Enterprise to reminisce, this is all great and fine and wonderful until, I go take my own ship. That piece got cut.
Oh, really?
But Sulu getting promoted to captain was how they got George Takei to come back.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we're at Star Trek 6, I don't know about character dynamics or actor dynamics or anything like that. It's entirely possible that they gave him his own ship, but he was supposed to get the Excelsior before that.
Yeah, because at the end of Voyage Home, he's always like, they're like, oh, they'll give us a tug. He's like, I'm hoping for the Excelsior, and Scotty chastises him for it.
Well, and if you go back and look at Star Trek, one of the novelizations, and I can't remember if it was Star Trek 2 or Star Trek 3, talks about what ship he was getting ready. It does establish in one of the novels that he was going to get Excelsior.
Okay.
Before all of this Genesis stuff blew up and
did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a dialogue, a piece of dialogue that didn't make it into the movie for whatever reason. I don't know if it was the timing thing or whatever, but I'm not aware. I've never heard any stories about Takei being difficult on set. I know he and Shatner have issues. Well, he's got issues with Shatner. I don't think Shatner cares about it at all.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's where I'm coming from.
But Koenig kind of had issues with Shatner too. But the thing about it is, back in those days, in the 60s, you didn't have the ensemble dynamic that you have with Next Generation and DS9. There was the star, and there was everybody else.
Yeah.
And Bill Shatner was the star. And then Leonard Nimoy was the breakout star, co-star. Yeah. Wait a minute. What do you mean he's more popular than I am? And then you started getting into the reciprocity stuff in the contracts.
Like DeForest Kelley, a lot of people don't realize. Everyone remembers him from Star Trek. When he did Star Trek, he was already a very well-established actor, did a bunch of Westerns.
And he was a villain.
Yes.
In most of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Bones has always been my favorite of the three.
What's ironic is D. Kelly in later interviews, he'd sit there and go, I've got all of this long career doing all of these things, but I'm going to be known as Dr. McCoy, and I guess I can live with that.
Well, Cary Elwes talking like that, he said, I've done so much stuff, but on my grave it will say "as you wish."
Yep.
From The Princess Bride.
You get a defining moment, a defining role that's the course of your career for the rest of your life.
I listened to an interview with him yesterday. He said, all I was getting was the swashbuckling, like, hero. Cary Elwes said, I kept getting all the swashbuckling, sword fighting hero stuff. Yeah. I didn't want to get stuck like that. And so he said that's why he started playing villains and bad guys, because he was able to break out of the typecasting. And I heard Chris Pine say something like Chris Pine said, with typecasting, it's not just you're still getting cast in roles when you're getting typecasted. So don't.
Yeah, But at the
Well,
same
it also hinders.
at the same time, though, how many times can you play the mustache twirling villain mwahaha over and 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 over again before it gets old?
Yeah, this is an ongoing discussion when I was in college with my theater professor. He looked at me. He said, "I could cast you as kind of the goofy sidekick."
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him and said, "I know I'll never be the hero. I'll play Gaston before I'll play Lafouf before I play Gaston." But I looked at him one time. I said, "You're typecasting me. You're going to typecast me, but right now you're not even casting me because I couldn't get into. I'm the kind of actor that if there's not a specific character in a show, I won't get cast."
Yeah.
See the thing. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I did a show called Tartuffe. It was like a 16th century French piece. I played the son only because the guy who played the father looked like an older, taller, fatter version of me.
And sometimes that's how it works, right? I am ready for the movie where Margot Robbie and Jamie Presley and Samara Weaving all play sisters or clones of each other.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
how many times have people looked at them and go, "Oh, that's all the same picture," and it's not. It's three completely different people, but they look so much alike that you can't tell them apart.
And they're all great actresses. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
Sure.
It's ridiculous.
And you know, you're talking about villains and stuff like that, and you know, heroes and villains. You know, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Ugh.
I don't know why you don't like it.
I haven't watched it.
It's fantastic. I mean, Snob can agree. The last episode alone, the trial of the seven. I mean, holy shit! You know, to the point. You know, this is not a conventional Game of Thrones series. It's basically it's completely different. It takes place in just one place. You know, you have all the knights that are showing up there for jousting and all that, and you have this guy. You know, he's a hedged knight. You know, that supposedly, you know, he says, "Oh, I'm knighted," but he has no proof of it, but ends up in the competition itself, goes to defend the honor of somebody there and gets into a battle with the Targaryens. You know, to the point. And it's a battle of the 14 men in a ring, 7-on-7 with jousts, you know, horses, you know, every weapon you could think of that's possible on there. And it was very well shot. The sound itself was excellent. The way they were flashing back and forth between, you know, the ringing in the ear of one of the characters, and you know that the sound is muffled, and then the action kicks back in again. You know, to that point. I mean, it is well done. I mean, right now, I mean, as far as the IMDb, the entire all 6 episodes have rated between 9.6 to 9.8. I mean 9.9. Next week, this coming week is the finale.
So the reason to talk about Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is just, you know, how opposite it is Starfleet Academy, in that I watched Starfleet Academy and I'm like, oh no, it's time for another episode of Starfleet Academy, right? But I watched Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and I'm like, wow, I can't, like, that last I just saw, I thought that would be the best episode. But at the end of the episode, I'm like, I want to see more. And they're taking the stakes up higher. What's going to happen? The aftermath is going to be even more higher stakes than the actual battle itself. I mean, that is good writing. Every
that kid is going to win an Emmy.
Every episode of the show takes you to the next, and you're just like, I want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see more. Exact opposite with this Star Trek Starfleet Academy show. You're just like, oh my God, I couldn't care less. The two shows are polar opposites.
Well, and it says something that the show, the Starfleet Academy, shows up briefly in the Paramount Plus top 10 like the day of the new episode, and then it quickly disappears. And the fact that the first 2 episodes didn't even chart on Nielsen's top 10, that actually provoked another meeting with Alex Kurtzman, in which he was told, "Alex, you're done." And the reason why, because the shooting for all of these productions was supposed to be done in December. and they went over. And it turns out, I found out why. They got told by Paramount, shoot a new ending for season 2 that's your series finale. The show is done.
Wow.
So it seems like we're still going to get season 2 of Starfleet Academy, I guess maybe to save face or some kind of a deal or whatever from Kurtzman. But I've even heard rumors that my guy who's got some information on the inside is hearing rumors that Skydance may sue Alex Kurtzman for the fiduciary harm that he's done to the shareholders. I don't know that that's going to happen.
Wow.
But they might. And
I still
and the
I
threat
keep
of
saying
that,
this.
the threat of that could be what's getting him, what allows them to go ahead and cancel Starfleet Academy prior to 5 seasons, because there's like a $30 million kill fee for every show that doesn't go 5 seasons. So
I still can't believe you would. Why would you show season 2 of this show? It's just simply going to damage your brand. It's so bad. This is potentially the worst show ever made on television.
No. Let's put this perspective. If this lawsuit goes forward, if this lawsuit goes forward, and Skydance manages to literally bury Kurtzman, what is that going to say for Hollywood going forward at that point?
Well, Kurtzman can't get work at any studio anyway. He's been shopping around for a couple of months now, trying to find someplace new that'll take him and do a production deal, and he can't find any studio that'll take him.
Nobody's going to touch him.
He's burned Netflix. He's burned Amazon with Discovery and Picard. He's burned probably burned Warner Brothers. I don't know where he stands over there. Universal doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and now Paramount dropped him because they were going to give him a first look deal to replace the deal that they've got now, in order to get him away from Star Trek, and say, okay, we'll give you a first look deal. You can go develop some other bunch of different things. We may not green light any of it, but you get a first look deal. We'll put you over here in the corner. You can, do no harm. And we get all of the rights to Star Trek back. That deal got pulled off the table 2 weeks ago. And so we're not doing that because you're radioactive. So the only thing that I can think of is that it's some kind of compromise move. We'll go ahead and air season 2 per the contract that we have with you, because they still got to get through the last 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds. And in exchange, Alex, we'll air these seasons. We'll finish out your contract. We won't sue you, but you will go away quietly and you will never touch Star Trek ever again. And we will own all of what you have. All of the rights revert back to CBS, and Secret Hideout owns nothing and will be happy. Otherwise, we will sue you for fiduciary mismanagement, and let's open up the books and see what happened.
That's crazy.
There's rumor.
Mm-hmm.
But let's put it in the perspective. What if a lawsuit happens? This goes to court. How do you think that would affect Hollywood at that point?
I don't know, because I'm also told that CBS owns a piece of Secret Hideout, and I didn't know that. So I don't know how you would do it. If they'd sue Secret Hideout, you're essentially suing part of your own company. If you sue Alex Kurtzman, you can only do so much, because it's not just him, it's Secret Hideout. I don't know how you would structure a lawsuit of that sort.
But I mean, this is not the first lawsuit Kurtzman's been under. If this was true, what was it, the movie The Island? He was sued for, and that was settled out of court.
Yeah, but a copyright infringement lawsuit is much different than fiduciary harm. I mean, basically it would be a breach of contract lawsuit. And in that they could make the case that he is in breach of contract by deliberately doing harm to a product owned by CBS, Paramount, Skydance. Regardless of any of that, David Ellison is set to fix Star Trek. That's one of his big priorities. I reported on this about 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Exclusively. I had a scoop. He met with the advertising department at CBS Paramount. and said, you guys are going to be in the loop earlier from now on because you're going to be part of getting the messages out and, the marketing and all of this other stuff. There are 2 movies coming in 2028. Not just one.
Mm-hmm.
We have the movie from Goldstein and Daly that's set 5 years after Nemesis in the prime timeline. That's the only thing we know about it. But he said at this meeting that he's greenlit 2 movies to release theatrically in 2028 that will reset the Star Trek universe. Those are his words. That's a direct quote. Reset the Star Trek universe. He's taking all of the legacy IPs, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, SpongeBob, whatever ones that they own, back to pre-woke crazy. In this meeting, he laid out this plan. We've got all of this stuff. They're going to emphasize, they're going to be heavy on theatrical, heavy on streaming, both. And Michael Sussman posted that photograph on Friday. He was at Paramount. I think we're going to get an announcement for Star Trek United within the next couple of weeks. Maybe. Probably wait until after season 1 of Academy is done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going to get Starfleet. We're going to get Star Trek United because Sussman was at Paramount on Friday and he's been all over everywhere talking about this show for the last couple of months.
Are we ever going to get more of Captain Seven and what's her name?
Legacy's dead.
Done. Legacy. That's what I thought it was called.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
Legacy's dead. Well, no, because it's actually not because when Skydance bought Paramount and they took over August 7th, they wanted Legacy. They wanted Kurtzman and Secret Hideout to pitch Legacy. Kurtzman never did. I thought he had. Turns out he never did because he was jealous of Terry Metalis having such a success with Picard season 3. Everybody loved Picard season 3, even though it's not great. It's better than anything else that we've had.
That's what I say when I enjoy Picard. I enjoyed season 3 because it was not as bad as what we had before with Kurtzman track,
and it was everything. It was everything that Patrick Stewart didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just read this article today talking about, the fandom, right? The current state of fandom and whatnot, and talking about the reception to Picard, because fans wanted the thing. I was like, no, people rejected Picard because Patrick Stewart stood up there and said, this is about Brexit and it's about Trump because of the whole refugee immigrant crap that they were doing in first season. And he explicitly said, well, of course this is about Brexit. Of course this is about Donald Trump and how terrible he is. Well, okay, fine. I'm not going to watch. He killed it by getting political.
And the thing is that got me was, I hated that he killed off 2 great characters, Ro Laren and Icheb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you need to kill those 2 characters off? They were, especially Ro Laren. Ro Laren
it's entirely possible that Michelle Forbes made that part of her deal.
She was supposed to be in DS9, wasn't she? Ro Laren?
Yes.
And then
they wrote the first
back.
officer character. They said they were going to have Ro Laren be the first officer of the station,
and they gave us Kira.
And Michelle Forbes did not want to commit to a series at that point, and so Ro Laren didn't make it to the show, and we got Kira Nerys instead.
The only thing I can remember off the top of my head without Googling that she's been in was like season 2 of True Blood. I think like season 2 or 3. She was like the Dionysus high priestess in True Blood.
Yeah. Well, she also showed up in the Battlestar Galactica reboot as Admiral Kane.
That is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I prefer that. What's his name? Played in the original series. No,
Lloyd
not
Bridges.
Jeff. Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah, Lloyd Bridges. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
She
Bo,
was
Jeff, and Lloyd.
She was Admiral Kane. She was Admiral Kane.
Yes.
And she also showed up at some crime stuff. I want to say she was either in a Law and Order or a homicide series or something. She eventually did a series, but at the time she didn't want to hitch her wagon to Star Trek for 7 years. because it's a 7-year contract.
Yeah,
And-
isn't that why Tasha, the Tasha Yar actress, left? She didn't like how they were dealing with her character. She didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
Denise Crosby, she ran into at the time. She was frustrated because all she was doing was standing at the horseshoe saying hailing frequencies open. She wasn't getting anything to do.
Kind of like Sigourney Weaver's character in Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, until the episode where they killed her. But they didn't, because she was playing Parisi Squares or whatever on that episode, but you didn't have any depth to any of these characters yet. She didn't give it enough time, because season 1 was garbage.
Yes.
I mean, everybody acknowledges that season 1 was not very good because Roddenberry still had his hands in it. Sorry to say, but Roddenberry was interfering, and it didn't pick up until season 3. You also have to remember too, right in the middle of all of that, season 2, we had a writer's strike.
Okay.
And
I was born around season 2, so
they had whole scripts from the Star Trek Phase 2.
Okay.
And rework those into Next Generation scripts.
Yeah, I've heard
they
say it's like it's getting your Riker's beard is the opposite of jumping the shark. When they say that, like, Star Trek or Next Generation really got on his feet when they gave Riker his beard. So when a show really starts going, it's called getting your Riker's beard. When it gets crazy and starts going downhill, it's jumping the shark.
I like that. Yeah, I had not heard that before, but yeah, it actually does kind of work.
Now,
before I was watching an interview. It's an old Attack of the Show interview with Geordie LaForge and Will Riker, those actors, and they said Jonathan Frakes talks about that. He said he comes in after the strike and he's got a beard. He's like, and Roddenberry's like, we're gonna kind of stylize it. It'll look nautical.
Yeah, right. Well, Riker is Kirk, but they rewrote the episode The Child. I know specifically that was a Phase 2 script. This is the one where Troy gets pregnant by the alien and he is born and it grows up and dies all in the same day. That was originally Ilea and Decker. And they rewrote it for Troy and Riker because they couldn't use any scripts. I mean, Phase 2 scripts were already done, bought and paid for. They were just sitting on a shelf, and we got a production schedule to meet, and the writers are on strike. So here's one that we've got. We can just, do this way. And I think there was at least one more, maybe two more that they ended up doing that way. But yeah, that started out as a Phase 2 script before the movies were made.
Now, before we go any further, I know this is a great conversation we're going on here, but I want to send everybody over to Dean right now. His show is just kicking off onto there. One thing I wanted to bring up, because you're here, Jason, right now. Tubi TV just made a major deal with Warner, and over 100 cartoons of the classic stuff, the real good stuff of that. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, they just wrangled in some of the best. I mean, even the DC Universe stuff, Justice League, and all the other shows as well.
See, this kind of thing is an argument for why Paramount should not sell at all. I mean, not Paramount, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is making these deals. This brings money into Warner Brothers' pockets. This is generating revenue for Warner Brothers in distribution fees. And because of that, Warner Brothers should not sell to anybody. They shouldn't sell to Netflix. They shouldn't sell to Paramount. They should sit there and go, you know what? We've got all of this stuff in this library, because that's what David Zaslav talked about. His very first earnings call was the fact that we're going to make this stuff, and we'll figure out where it's most appropriate for it to go. It won't all go straight to HBO Max. We'll license some of it out, because that's how you make money, is in the distribution fees and the syndication fees. And because you can't just sit there and go, okay, well, Warner Brothers Pictures makes the movie. It ends up at HBO Max. $5 comes out of the left pocket and goes into the right pocket. You don't have any profit that way.
Yeah.
And you're just shifting numbers on the balance sheet that way. You're not making any money. And Zaslav recognized that, and everybody's, oh, David Zaslav the butcher, or whatever. They know, like, but he was looking at it from a business standpoint. He says, how do we get out of this $50 billion of debt that we've got?
Yes.
So, it's the same kind of thing. And now you've got Warner Brothers making these deals for distribution of their product, which is the smart way to go, which is what they should have been doing, which Sony has been doing all this time. I read an article on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and I shared on my show, talking about how Sony is the only one outside of Crunchyroll, notwithstanding. Sony doesn't have a streaming service for their movies and their TV shows and everything else. They just license it out to anybody, Netflix or HBO Max or wherever. Sony just makes it and they sell it. And the guy who wrote this article, he said, at the time, I thought Sony was making a big mistake, but it turns out Sony's going to be the last studio standing, because you got all of these other studios that are losing money on streaming because they're putting their own product on their own channel and they're not making a profit. They're not generating any revenue that way. Meanwhile, Sony's over here going, I have product. You need product. We make deal. And Sony's making the money because they don't have the streaming service to worry about. They can just sit there and go, here's this TV show. You pay us money and you can have our TV show, HBO Max. And Sony's making out like bandits because they're focused on generating a profit. And Warner Brothers seems to be doing the same kind of thing with this Tubi deal and other things that they're doing. But then the question is it too little too late? Because now you're in the middle of all of these negotiations with Paramount and with Netflix. And who knows if the government's even going to let that happen. Hopefully they don't, but I didn't think that they'd let Disney buy Fox. And that destroyed Fox. So, we'll see. But contraction is never good for the industry. The theaters are going to be hurt the worst by it.
I've worked in the theaters, and it's been that way for at least 10 years.
But the thing is with Sony, I got to bring this up with Sony because you say about they don't have a streaming channel, but yet they are freaking butchering into the freaking anime industry and taking over a lot of shit.
I said Crunchyroll aside.
Right.
Because Crunchyroll is a very, very, very specific niche product. It's anime, and that's it. Right. And it's not the movies and the TV shows. It's not Sony Television. It's not any of the things. It's not Spider-Man.
And remember, Crunchyroll.
Very, very, very,
what other giant of dubbing of the anime streaming service did Crunchyroll acquire within the past year or two?
Yeah.
Remember Funimation?
They got Funimation.
Which Funimation can rot in hell for all I care. I hated those people. And I'm so glad that when it was rolled into Crunchyroll, the less I hear about, because so you're talking about contracting again. So was that when they acquired, when Crunchyroll acquired Funimation, was that kind of contracting, or was that?
Oh yeah,
something
yeah,
else?
It absolutely was. It absolutely was, because you have competition being swallowed up. But it's not anything new. I mean, you go back to newspaper times. Dallas used to have two newspapers. You had the Dallas Morning News, you had the Dallas Times Herald. And the Dallas Morning News came out in the morning, and the Times Herald came out in the afternoon. And eventually, the Dallas Morning News bought the Dallas Times Herald because the market couldn't support two independently produced newspapers. So
same thing happened in my town.
Yeah,
we used to have a thing called the News Herald, which was a big printed downtown, and then the Tallahassee Democrat about 10, 15 years ago bought it out, and now all our new papers are printed literally 2 hours away from my town. So we see that all the time. Also, Funimation had done so much damage to their brand.
Oh yeah,
with the Vic with the Vic issue.
Well, and the Vic thing is not the only issue that they had. You had, because it came out post Vic, all of the stuff that they'd been doing for cultural appropriation to reset, and rewrite, and inject their own ideological stuff in there. And fortunately, the anime studios have finally sat there and go, hey, wait a minute, we don't want you to do that. But damage has already been done. But that's why you see two different versions of things from the Western side, and the dubs versus the subs.
Yeah, but they just got Aniplex and Egg Firm. Egg Firm is like one of the big boys now. Attack on Titan, Mushoku Tensei, Danmachi, some of the top in the top 10 anime, animators in Japan itself.
The Crunchyroll is just the streaming service. They're not actually producing anything. They're just streaming it, right?
Okay, I did
Yeah,
not
but
know
they
that.
bought
I
the
thought
company.
they were a dubbing
They
company.
bought out the company that makes it. They bought Egg Firm. Firm.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
right.
They bought Egg Firm, which is and then now you're hearing Mappa is also now working with Netflix.
But see, this is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing that the movie theaters are going to have to look at in order to survive. Is how much indie product are we going to program? How much specialized stuff like Taylor Swift concert video? Taylor Swift went directly to AMC. She didn't go through any kind of distribution. She didn't go through any studio. It was, hey, I've got this concert movie. AMC, let's talk. And here we are a week later. They say, it's going to be in theaters tomorrow. What? Taylor Swift exclusively in AMC theaters. Same kind of thing here. AMC theaters has got to decide are all of the theater chains, Regal, Cinemark, all of them.
Yeah.
Special event stuff, and it's not just going to be Fandango and Fathom events. The theater chains are going to start having to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And indie programming, indie films like Markiplier's his thing that he just did.
We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Yeah.
So you got that kind of thing. AI generated stuff, and then the movie theater companies are going to have to build their own production arms and make their own movies to show on the screens. Otherwise, I mean, because the studios are going to die. Hollywood's dying.
Yeah. I worked at a theater, at a Regal theater in 2018, the summer of 2018, and there were days where I live about 20 miles out of town, and the theater was in the middle of town, so it'd take me about 25, 30 miles driving to get there. I'd walk in and the manager would say, we can't afford to pay you today. We can't. Goodbye. And I heard Matt Damon one time say something really interesting. Back in the day, movies would have two opportunities to make money. You had the opportunity in the theaters, so that they'd spend like 3 or 4 months in the theater. And then you had the DVD sales, like the home video sales. Like how many movies did you see that they bombed in theater, became a cult classic in renting?
It was more than that. Back in the day, you had first run theatrical.
Yes.
AMC, Regal, Cinemark. Second run theatrical, which was the Dollar Theater.
Yes, I forgot about the Dollar Theater. Yeah.
Then you had premium cable, HBO, Showtime, Cinemax.
Okay.
Then you had regular cable, Turner, TBS, wherever. Then you had broadcast, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. All right, we're up to 5 now. We still haven't gotten home video. Then you get to home video, VHS, DVD, whatever, Blu-ray. Right. Well, no, I take that back. Scratch that. You had video on demand. Then you had home video.
So streaming services took out like 8 chances for income.
You've gone from seven or 8 revenue streams to 2, 3. Well, 3 if you count DVD. So you got first run theatrical, streaming, home video. And that's it.
Wow. Because I saw an interview yesterday with Danny Glover, and he was talking about the theatrical run of Lethal Weapon. It bombed in the theaters. It did not make much in the theater. It wasn't until people started renting it when it started becoming popular, and then they got greenlit for Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah, well, you had a number of films that were that way that didn't find an audience for whatever reason in the theaters, Buckaroo Banzai, for example,
I love that movie.
a cult classic, died at the box office,
Mhm.
and it found an audience in home video, and everybody is still waiting for Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime League, and it's never going to happen because
Never gonna happen.
nobody knows who owns the rights.
Yes.
Yep. So,
That
well,
has
we're gonna have to
great
leave that off
cast,
because we're gonna
too.
have to send everybody over to Ever Games, which is on live right now. We have in the chat. I just posted the link on there for anyone who wants to go over there. Dean is on there live right now. So let's close this out. Jason, what you got coming up?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, I mean, we're still in flux post hospital, so
How is she, by the way? How's
she's
your wife, by the
she's
way?
doing fine. I mean, she's still having some mobility
Mhm.
challenges, because they cut into her back for the third time, so there's that. But we're getting there. We're having to modify the house a little bit with some different things, and she's got physical therapy coming in, and so we're making progress in the recovery. But
That's good.
I don't know what the schedule is going to be like the rest of the week. I do know that I'm not going to be here on Friday, but we probably have a show tomorrow and Thursday, and then of course we got the Babylon 5 thing on Wednesday night. So, and then the weekend at some point, probably Sunday, because I've got to work Friday and Saturday. Probably on Sunday, we'll have our next Starfleet Academy review where I tell you how much I hate the show.
Okay, Outpost, what you got coming up?
Look out for more movie reviews whenever a good trailer drops. I think Mandalorian Grogu dropped sometime today. I'll be looking at that and reviewing it. Check out shorts. I've been working on my shorts. But I went to a job interview today at a bank, so hopefully I'll get that job, and then I'll have to rethink my schedule and hopefully can put a little money into the channel. So yeah, just keep an eye out. Go and check me out. I'm at 200. My goal for in the next 2 months is to get 250 subscribers. I'm at 223 right now. So help me out, guys.
Give them help them out, ladies and gentlemen. There,
And
we
yes,
got
you're right.
enough people in there to get them up a little bit.
They did drop the trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu today at the same day they announced Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, we talked about that. I'm going to watch that fight. That's going to be
that's no coincidence.
Yes.
I'm convinced that's no coincidence of timing.
Yes.
That's on purpose. And I think because the MMA fight is 6 days before Mando drops in the theaters. I think Gina's going to be in the last trailer.
Oh wow!
I think she's back.
Ooh.
I think she's back.
Ooh,
I
that's
hope
gonna be
Cara
interesting.
Dune was one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
That's true for a lot of people.
Yep.
And I don't think the timing of this is an accident.
No, I don't think so
I don't
either.
know.
That's a good point.
Okay, Snob, what do we got?
Well, it's snowing like crazy around here. It's like a foot of snow dropped. So right after this, I gotta go plow the driveway. So that's what I got planned.
But you don't have mooses
Otherwise
like a
we'll be
plow
able
with
to-
mooses
we'll be able to get
up there
out.
in Canada land.
No, we use power. I have a little lawn tractor that I have a big snowblower on, and we just do that. Oh wait, you're talking about the show? Yes. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna have supper after that. No. So Babylon 5 tomorrow. We've got the Point of No Return, the season titular episode. It involves the Night Watch and Londo trying to avoid his fate a little bit, getting some help from a special, some people call the First Lady of TV science fiction, Majel Barrett. Is a guest on the show, so we'll be talking about that. And then, of course, the next Top Lofty Lounge on Sunday is movie night, and it's so far Outland is winning. So far it's going to be Outland, and we're going to finalize that on Sunday. So if you want Zardov is the other two Sean Connery movies. If you want Zardov, you got to go vote, but most people want Outland. But yeah,
you're going to keep that up there until you actually get it,
on.
aren't you?
Zardov? I don't think so. I think I put it up together because this one, both Sean Connery movies make sense. I'll maybe try something different.
By the way,
go see Dean. Go see
By
Dean
the way,
after this. He's doing.
Trek movie.
He's talking
Trek
about.
movie has an interview with George Takei about a new documentary. He apparently wants to come back to Star Trek as an admiral. So
Of course he does.
I'd be
Me
fine
too.
with it.
Anyway,
It depends.
yeah, go ahead, Snob.
If you're interested in Dean, he's talking about his game that he's been developing over the months. So they're like he's doing like a Q. I mean, he's showing it off, and there's lots of talk in the chat, Q&A. He's answering questions. So if you're any interested in RPGs and his new system, the game's called Untold Destiny, right? Ever Games is the name of the site, but Untold Destiny is the name of the game, I believe. So yeah, go check it out. Dean's a semi-regular on our About
And
podcast.
on
Who's
Madman
your guest?
Cafe as well.
Who's your do you have any?
Oh, that's
Jamar,
true.
do you have any special?
Yes,
Dean's coming
Dean
again.
is coming on
Dean's
tomorrow.
coming on, okay.
He's coming again, so he's going to be there again.
And then, of course, we have the
Sign
Bad
up.
News Bards Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Deaf Angel Channel and Cam. I'm not certain who they got this week, but they'll probably have another guest as all on there. Michelle, thank you for subscribing. I know you enjoyed it today. Also, you're saying down there.
Thank you for subscribing
And
to
of
us.
course, Batman Cafe returning back next Tuesday, 9 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern on there. We have videos tomorrow and Thursday. Also, Otaco Thursday. It's the end of Otaco Thursday. Starting sometime March, April, we're bringing a complete new show, complete on there. We're working on it. It's coming soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it up and running in March. But hey, listen, things happen and things change to the point, especially when you're working on something brand new to that perspective. But it is an anime show, manga. I'm working on trying to get somebody else on board, a manga expert to be co-hosting it on there as well. Also, we've just
Hopefully, it's a sexy girl too.
yeah. Also, we just, like I said, if you didn't catch it early on, we just put up for monetization today. So we're waiting to hear from YouTube. Hopefully, we'll be monetized by next week. Hopefully, onto there. Also, thank you to all those who have subscribed. Over the 80 subscribers that we've received. We're getting to that 1,600 level. We're trying to push to 2,000 on the channel. So thank you again for those who have joined the board on there. So to remember, subscribe, like, share. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Be sure to subscribe to everyone else here as well. They deserve it. We work hard to bring this entertainment to you week after week. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye, folks.
Bye.
Happy Snow Day.